to the Blizzard Arena. I'm Aaron Stevie. It's Saturday. Oh man, I'm really feeling that energy. Guys, oh, I love it. It's Saturday, and I have a fun fact for you guys today. None of these teams have played each other in the regular season. And first up, we have the LA Gladiators versus the London Spitfire. Both looking really strong in stage 2, but only one can emerge victorious today. Are you guys ready? Yes! All right! Let's get the show started!
Oh, and Gladiators more than prepared.
Very solid defense set up here for London Spitfire to kick things off.
Nice pick there. Gladiators looking to capitalize.
London Spitfire hang in there. They will hold. Birdring on high.
Gladiators getting the kills, winning the fight in style. They may have a big chance here, a big opportunity.
What's going on, Blizzard Arena? It's the last day of week 3, and we're going to do it the only way we know how, and that is bringing it to you hot and heavy. Welcome, everyone. My name is Golden Boy, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues here. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was cool. I don't know if that was intended for me or not.
It was.
Okay.
You earned it, bud.
Well, it is my last day here at the Overwatch League. Puckett will be taking the desk back again. No, the legendary Chris Puckett, ladies and gentlemen. You guys cheer for that man. But yes, it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited. So I'm joined by Reinforced, Crumbs, and the wonderful Zoe as always, and we have a big day in store for us.
Yeah, we have a huge day in front of us. I prepared so hard, I even watched anime for you, Golden Boy.
Yes, you watched anime.
What'd you see? Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What did you? We saw Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Move it on.
Moving on. Schedule. Bring it up. Let's just go. No, I can't deal with this stuff. That's not anime enough. All right, so here you go. The standings. New York Excelsior currently sitting at the top of the pack at 13-2. But today we're going to see the London Spitfire sitting in 3rd place take on the Los Angeles Gladiators at the 8th place standing here. So going to be a big matchup, and the first time we're going to see this one take place here at the Blizzard Arena. Stage 2 standings, though, the Seoul Dynasty sitting on top at 6-0. They are looking to continue that reign of terror on the rest of these.
Sure, Seoul is running away with it, but if you take a look at this match right now, London versus Gladiators, if Gladiators can punch up above their weight, they'll actually be tying them for the score. So they'd be 4-2 alongside the London Spitfire, which is pretty damn impressive. Not map score, but still, you know, it counts.
Indeed it does, my friend. And then, as I mentioned before, we're going to have London Spitfire going up against the hometown heroes of the Los Angeles Gladiators. Then after that, it'll be the NYXL going up against the San Francisco Shock. And then to close it out, got a lot of Shock fans in here. And then we also have the Florida Mayhem versus the Dallas Fuel as our final match of week 3. Everyone's super pumped, super excited. So I think we might as well just jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the London Spitfire. 11-4 overall, 4-1 in stage 2, coming off of a sweep against the Boston Uprising yesterday.
Yeah, and Seoul Dynasty are running away with it in stage 2, but these guys are looking real crisp as well. And they're looking like potential stage 2 champions, in my opinion. The way they're dominating on their gesture is one of the best tanks, if not the best tank in the League of 4. So this team is looking really deadly.
Yeah, and for this week, they once again decided to split their roster into 2 in order to get the best possible preparation for both of their matches. The only people we see again, which we also saw yesterday, are Prophet and Gesture. The rest of the roster has specifically been practicing to going up against the guys from the Gladiators.
I'm really curious to see how this experiment turns out, though, because Seoul did it, looked sick, but right now, the London Spitfire, they no longer have their old coach. No longer do they have Bishop, but you got Prophet already back in the lineup. You know him from his mischievous adventures, but also his fantastic gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, London Spitfire have just, you know, from the launch of the league until now, they have been sitting at the top of the mountain alongside New York Excelsior, alongside the Seoul Dynasty. And a team, very similarly, this is a squad that you can put anyone really into this lineup and they can succeed. That's how talented the London Spitfire are as a squad. But Their opponents are no slouches indeed. This team is coming off of a huge win in the Battle of LA. Let's go ahead and welcome to the stage the Los Angeles Gladiators. And as I had mentioned before, a 4-0 sweep over the Valiant. That was a huge win for the purple and white.
It really was. Nobody saw it coming. The fact that they handed such a commanding victory to the Valiant. They were very decisive in their coordinated attack. It felt like Asher just stepped up alongside Fisher. You know that he's a shot caller, but even more interesting today is that he's playing up against his old team.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a very special game for Fisher, as he used to be working alongside the guys from the London Spitfire, and now he's on the other side. And I asked the Gladiators coach how well he has integrated himself so far, as prior to joining this team, he didn't even speak English, so I assume the communication with your main tank has been a little bit difficult. He said that there's still work to do, and not just for Fisher, but generally also for the rest of the team, as they now have to get used to a new dynamic, if you want. They just kind of have to adapt their play style to match Fisher's very aggressive tank play.
Yes, and we noticed that they play very aggressive, similar to the Philadelphia Fusion, which London Spitfire actually destroyed last weekend. So this is going to be a very tough game for the Los Angeles Gladiators, because they have similar styles, of course. But Fisher maybe has some inside knowledge, of course, London Spitfire being his former team. So I'm looking forward to see how Fisher makes this game happen.
I'm personally excited to see my buddy Lane Roberts Sherford take the stage, go up against the Spitfire here today. What do you got, Crumbs?
Well, when you're playing against your former team, you know their weaknesses, specifically the emotional weaknesses, right? You know the players that if you start targeting, they might be throwing out their game, maybe start inducing a little bit of tilt. I want to see them use that to the full extent. Try to pick on the members that might collapse, because we've never seen the London Spitfire have a weakness that is easy enough to pick off. Maybe Fisher is the guy that shows us how you can take this team down.
I mean, just the emotional factor, of course, going into this match. You have Fisher, who was on the bench for the most part on London Spitfire, of course, going up against Gesture, who was on the starting roster, of course, for the London Spitfire. So he's like, I'm gonna show you, Gesture, I can play this game as well, of course. And there are two of the best tanks in the league, of course. So a very exciting matchup.
I'm very excited for this game. It's going to be awesome. But Zoe, question for you. London has been so strong. Who is standing out for them in your mind?
You know what? It's gotta be Prophet. That boy's magic.
Magic.
Magic. No, I'm serious. Like, he's magic.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
come on. Oh, dear.
He's holding his finger up again.
Honestly, that picture looks about how I would look if I was...
No, he handles this wand like he handles his tracer guns. That kid knows what he's doing on and off stage. And I personally have been a little bit offended, because as I am a Slytherin, I see him in this Gryffindor robe. I had some questions. So, of course, I talked to him and his team, like, why?
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 And they had
Why?
actually just told me that they wanted to do something really British. And as we all know, the people in England are not known for their tea or their queen. They're known for their wizards. So, yeah, that's why they went with this, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say here.
What house are you, Crumbs?
Hufflepuff?
I'm Hufflepuff, 100%.
No, somebody told me the other one. It's the one
You're
with
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
they
go.
Oh,
said
no,
that.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
You
I
are.
feel like a Hufflepuff.
You are.
You know, so that's what I do.
I think I'm a Gryffindor, because
You would be.
I own a
Probably.
Quidditch. I'm the man.
You own a Quidditch?
Yeah.
You know that's not
all-
a real game.
You probably
right?
couldn't
It's
even...
imaginary.
Yeah, but like console games, you know.
They're talking about games. We have one
I'm
on the
just
line
saying,
here.
I know, it's very true.
Oh,
I just wanted to
segue.
say that Johnny probably couldn't even
Yeah.
fly a broomstick. But
Yo, what?
anyway,
You're too heavy for the broomstick.
You're too tall. Too
I got-
tall.
I got
They
a
don't-
big
they don't
broomstick.
make- they-
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Oh my-
Moving forward from the conversation at hand, let's get some final thoughts on this game here. Johnny, God bless you, but I'm not going to start with you. Crumbs, what do you think? How you feeling about this matchup going into it? How are you feeling about the Gladiators' chances against the Spitfire?
I mean, statistically, it looks rough, right? But this team is coming up, and I think they could be able to punch up here. Are they going to be able to take the game? Maybe not, but they surely can put a big dent into the London Spitfire. I want to see them do so well that it forces London to start subbing in more players, and now to try to bring out their 8th or S-tier squad, really.
Okay.
They're all
We
they're
went through the
all
tiers
A,
before.
yes.
It was an uncomfortable conversation for Brennan's side show. So I think it's best we don't go into the tier discussion. Well, I'm excited for the game, guys. This is going to be awesome. We're going to have serious conversations with Johnny during the break about his verbiage. And overall, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for your insight. But now it's time to get into the game. Let's go ahead, make some noise, Blizzard Arena. Let's get loud, let's get hyped up. It's game day. Let's send it over to your commentators, my buddies Uber and Mr. X.
Ah, yeah, GB. It's not like I really need to get the crowd excited. They're already one step ahead of me. Just quickly, by the way, Quidditch is actually a thing. People do play that game. You actually have to run around with the broomstick and keep the broomstick between your legs. Like, you literally need to, like, grab the... And you need to run around like that with it. And you need... It's great. It's actually legit. You got to hit the ball.
Sounds awful.
It's... Get around it. It's great. And by the way, yeah, Ravenclaw and Slytherin, low-tier houses. Don't at me, nerds. This game, though.
Yeah.
This game is going to be
people
serious.
are pretty upset with you over
Come
that.
at me! You can't even fight me in here! I'm not out on the stage, am I?
No, we're in the back.
No Alohomora is going to get you in here, fam. First, Matt Volskaya, though, coming up, Matt. So let's talk about it a little bit more now between these two teams, because, yeah, we got the storyline. We do have, you know, Fisher and Gesture going head-to-head again. But how much does that really mean in the grand scheme of these two teams clashing?
Well, I think, you know, one of the signs of the better teams in Overwatch League thus far has been your flex tank and main tank play. And you see, as soon as Fisher comes into the lineup for the Gladiators, they start to look more competitive in a lot of their matches, you know, with that good shot calling. I think it's two of the better main tanks we have in the league going at it in this matchup. And I think just being able, right, you know, Fisher comes from the London Spitfires, so he's probably practicing against Gesture a lot of the times. If there's anyone who knows Gesture's weaknesses, it is Fisher and vice versa. So
right, like you're playing these in, like London was a team known for being able to play these in-houses, these 6v6s, so more often than not, you know, Fisher was going up against Gesture, but again, how does he fit into this, or how so far has he fit into this Gladiators roster? Will it be enough to really tip the scales? Because, I mean, they've hit another level, especially after that LA victory.
He's looked great. I think it does put a lot of added pressure on Bishu, because we've heard, you know, Bishu obviously translating for Asher and Fisher, you know, able to speak Korean and English, then can, you know, relay that information to the other teammates, but then he's also trying to play the game as well. So right on Bishu's plate. And I know this may be a game where the Gladiators can take advantage. It looks like London today is playing, you know, that former GC Busan roster, right? You don't have Fury in the lineup, who's been very good. Birdring as well, Bedosian too. So three main players from the London Spitfire. No roster, you know, Bedosian, Birdring, and Fury were like mainstays when they won stage 1. So not in this match. Obviously, still very talented players out here for London, as they'll be on offense first.
Well, London Spitfire, 11 wins, 4 losses so far for the season. Gladiators 7 and 8. Time for LA to fire up here and show us exactly what this new level looks like. They took down their Californian rivals. They beat the Shock 4-0 earlier on in the season, but now it's time to bring out the big guns. Spitfire now already this aggression from the Gladiators. They're actually waiting at the door. They've pushed out of the side room, man. They want to fight them right here at the choke.
Yeah, they got so aggressive. Gesture was just going up in the sky and seeing if he saw anybody up on that high ground. And while he was doing that, Sureforward actually, Sombra goes invisible, goes right on a Hagapun, and then Fisher jumps right onto him as well. They're able to take out the Zenyatta so fast. And now it's just going to force London to play with a little bit more caution. As it's interesting, Mitch, you know, usually on the offensive side on Volskaya, we see whether it's 76 or Widowmaker in that hit scan role. Now we see McCree coming out here from Hureg. Obviously, McCree very good against Tracer and Sombra.
Sombra shutdown is big. We saw that yesterday, I feel like, in a couple of those Route 66 maps, bringing that McCree in to nullify the Sombra. She appears. If she doesn't get that EMP off quick enough, she's dead in the water. So the Spitfire take this one slow. They've actually moved up around the right-hand side. Prophet is actually on his own at the moment. You can see the reluctant to show on that high ground. They want to trade a little bit. That might be the opening. The Sombra's missing.
Yeah, Prophet was actually sitting over on the other side. He was actually camping Surefor's translocator. So Surefor actually goes back after getting weak. Prophet's there to finish him off. Fisher not able to get there in time to put any type of pressure on him.
Hagapun though, Asher already down. Fisher wasn't far behind, and that's a huge opening. There's Zenyatta for the Spitfire's creator. And Prophet, he's in no hurry to get too aggressive here. Just get some damage. Bishu didn't even realize Prophet was waiting in the wings. He gets desuited, or he goes for the self-destruct rather, but he gets taken down before he can back in. Now that EMP being provided by Surefor means that Prophet needs to try and take cover. He can't get away. Big Goose chases him down. Surefor now stands proud on the point. Hagapun and Closer have to back away.
And Surefor goes for that EMP there. Maybe he's able to connect and on Gesture before he's dropping that Winston bubble to get that some more value out of that self-destruct, but still, it just buys enough time. The players on London have to back out a little bit where Fisher can come off the spawn. Still farming this Sombra health pack inside the Mega Room. Now it's London who's got some ultimates here to work with. They have both support ultimates. Closer playing that Mercy. It's going to be Transcendence that comes out early as Fisher dives in.
Hurek moves in to take full advantage of the healing, goes for the flash, but the kill isn't there. Fisher backs away, that self-destruct could be scary though, but you can see the Gladiators just spread out, avoid the damage. Now the Sound Barrier coming in, both support ultimates being committed to this fight by the Los Angeles Gladiators, and Gesture falling first. Hurek doesn't feel comfortable enough to try and get close, he misses the flash, he's going to be in trouble. No, Closer comes to the rescue, a bit of healing, Fan the Hammer desperate, Hurek almost off the edge, but it gets back in the spawn somehow. Despite this display of acrobatics, the rest of the Spitfire got decimated on the main point, and there's a minute and 18 seconds left.
And it was Gesture who used his Primal Rage, and he sees Shaz alone by the Mega Health Pack there, and it's just a little bit of help from Bishu and Sherfor able to make it back, but Shaz able to put down a ton of damage onto Gesture, take him out. That's huge. Rarely we see like Zenyatta's able to win that versus a Primal Rage Winston, like a 1v1 scenario, when that Winston's just bashing him back constantly.
Bishu's taking some big hits though, obviously the frontline player. EMP's active for Sherfor. This could be what really breaks the back of the Spitfire in this fight.
Yeah, and Shaz getting very close to a Transcendence. You see Shaz at
already
78% towards a Transcendence. No higher than either of the supports on the side of the London Spitfire. So you may have this Transcendence, but if you can get away with just using EMP here and hold on to that Transcendence, that would be huge for the Gladiators.
Sherfor trying to go in. EMP timing, it's flashed immediately. Did the EMP work out? You can see Hurek is hacked at the moment. Fish is trying to follow up on the damage, and it looks like it's good. Uyal de-suited now, backing away, getting healed up by Closer. Fisher knows he needs to just take a step back and get that Mega. He'll be good to fight again. The Spitfire is staggered out. They still got 5 players in position. It looks like Matt is still going to commit. They have to.
Yeah, they get hit with 3 players with the EMP here.
Big Goose.
And it's going to be a Valkyrie that comes out from London. I was wondering to see on the map if anyone for the Gladiators is going to go back and try and spawn him. Gesture, but it's going to be Hagopen who just falls, getting close to that Transcendence.
Yeah, they're going to be missing that one in this fight, and now we're into overtime. 2 players on the point for the Spitfire, and Asher might have something to say about it. Wuyal de-suited once again, but Bishu will also be following suit. That's a big old Deadeye. Hurek sits in the corner of the point and finds 2. Asher was able to remove Wuyal, but he's going to get taken down by Hurek. In the final seconds, the Spitfire come up with the ace. And that was Hurek delivering with a big Deadeye to shift the balance in the favor of the Brits.
And this is something we've seen from the Gladiators in the past. We actually saw it a little bit on Bonnie during stage 1, where Shaz plays the Genji, and they would kind of go for that high ground. This time they're going to really use Sherfor as that secondary support, really try and farm this health pack. Big EMP, 2 players get taken out instantly.
Hagopen isn't even being allowed to play Overwatch when Sherfor's got that EMP out. Good little aggressive dive, and the Gladiators are showcasing this intensity, this aggression, this ability to really play around these chokes and not be afraid. When you've got Sombra in your team composition, you do need to make good use of it. Wuyal needs to drop off there, of course, to get his mech back in spawn.
Yeah, and Sherfor's got a lot of good EMP uses, averaging about 3 players per EMP, so obviously, half of the team getting EMP'd, and then, he's potentially, like you saw there in the final clip, he actually hacked 1 player right after. So one of the players that didn't get hit with EMP trying to run away, no damage coming down on Sherfor, he's able to get a hack off as you see Asher with a pulse bomb. Shaz getting close to a Dragon Blade. The Dragon Blade's good here because you can just force out support ults, right?
Yeah,
you have more ultimates to just force out that Transcendence, which just comes out, and potentially Valkyrie.
This is so fun from Shaz. Yeah, seeing that triple DPS come in, if you count Sombra as one herself. Bishu got pulse bombed out of his mech. Asher's there, getting a bit of damage in. Shaz fighting Gesture, but that's Hurek to clean up Asher, who's been playing a dangerous game, but that's a Dragon Blade. What's the support? Now a Cyber Ninja. Shaz goes in. Closer, he's low. 1 more Shuriken to get the job done. The man's just avoiding. The Shuriken's in midair and gets away. What a little turn of events. What a twist to see Shaz bring this pick out.
How many Zenyatta players do you know that can play Genji?
I think he's switching now, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he may go back and switch. Let's see. He's in the spawn right now.
Ooh.
So we're going to see it may pick. So this may be in response. They may know that London is going to go to Reaper here, and then in the counter to that, bring out a May to really slow and split this Reaper off.
Or maybe, just maybe, Hurek, just got himself counted. I mean, Shaz just going for this pick. It's interesting that they go for a defensive Lucio. A lot of teams don't always go for that on this point. They go out of Zen sometimes. I want to see this May in action though. Wall up. Prophet being removed at the start of the fight here. Not a great sign. Asher having a big one. D-suits Wuyal. Removes Gesture there.
And this is where you start to get into Fisher knowing what the London Spitfire like to do, right? Potentially this is a map that he may have scripted with them, or at least kind of get to know what kind of playstyle they like to go against the Sombra player. And then maybe he knows, hey, they're going to go to Reaper after a few times, and this doesn't work off that McCree. Let's bring out something like a May, which maybe is something that London didn't even prepare for.
Tell you what, it wasn't Fisher's decision necessarily to move teams. But I tell you, he's making lemonade
Well,
out of this.
I think at the end of the day, if you're a player, you just want to play. You will help your team win in any way.
And I mean,
after
he's getting every game here, whereas with the Spitfire, you know, sometimes it wasn't even every other game. What's Ash looking for? Hagapin might be the answer. Big salvo of orbs of destruction sent in Ash's direction, forcing... Oh, that pulse one didn't quite connect. He's still got gesture anyway, so all's well that ends well. Cheeky spray and went back to the fight. Wuyal just completely shunted out of the area. Los Angeles looking mad good right now, man. That's not grammatically correct or a very great phrase to say,
That's
but
fine.
45 seconds, man.
And I think a part of, you saw Fisher in that one video where he was just not sure about how he was going to go over to the Gladiators, how it was going to work. Probably wasn't familiar with their players. And I think Asher's been a player in stage 2. We were kind of critical of stage 1 with his Tracer play.
Yep.
He's really come to life. You see Hydration playing very good now. Everything that Surefour can do. This is a team that has all the pieces, and you see what a main tank, caliber of Fisher does.
Surefour forced to abort mission a little bit early there. Last fight coming up.
They have a Blizzard here too.
Oh, Hagapin goes for a little bit of an early Transcendence. How do they make value out of this one? He moves on to the point, but Surefour doesn't really care. EMP time. Who's going to be caught? Jesse goes in for the Primal Rage. I guess he wasn't caught on that EMP, which is a bit of an annoyance to Surefour, who would have loved to have shut that ultimate down. Shaz's removed. Wuyal fights Surefour. He's low as well. This fight's turning around. The Spitfire come back in now with a bit of pizzazz, and so far it's worked out. Ash's Tracer can't get close enough. There's too much damage being thrown in his direction, and Fisher's down. First tick to come up here. The Gladiators will have a chance to try and stall this out, but the Death Blossom, Matt, that's going to be so hard to deal with. Big Goose in over the top, just pushed away. Get off my point was the call. Now the May in on. Shaz is going to get his barrier up, but there's not much he can do against the Death Blossom there. Still in overtime, of course. The Spitfire, they'll come up with the formula right at the final moments, and they'll get it. It's hard fought.
It's a great defense, though, from the Gladiators, right? I mean, they do end up taking point B. It is not easy, though. No time remaining for the London Spitfire. As it was interesting, they used the Blizzard, and they used the Blizzard to separate the supports and push them behind where that mega health pack is. And then Fisher went around the other way with Primal Rage, trying to really section those two players off. Somehow able to stay alive through all of that, and then make their way back to the point. The sound barrier at the end was big.
The tank play really opened that up for the London Spitfire there. You saw that, Jester's still able to get that Primal Rage despite an EMP having just been loosed by Surefour. He was just standing out of range of it. That caused a lot of problems and forced a lot of the Gladiators players to have to circle back to the point, leaving Surefour himself out in the open after having used that EMP, and you see immediately he gets charged down by Wuyal. Two big players removed from the picture already, especially with Jester causing so many problems. And the May wasn't able to have a big impact. Yeah, I mean, it was literally a zoning on that Blizzard, right? Didn't quite pay off, though, as the bulk the Gladiators got smashed. This is Shaz here, man, in this previous fight, forcing the Transcendence.
Yes. This is where you should see the Blizzard come out behind him. Yes. Oh, does it get eaten?
Oh, that's rough.
So it gets eaten. So he's trying to throw it to the back there, and then you can see Fisher, he's actually Primal Raging behind that May wall. He goes around the other way. So that's exactly why it didn't work, because the Blizzard gets eaten up, right? The idea was to force the supports and Diva all the way into the back, and then have Fisher just come in with the Primal Rage, just bat him around.
Tough to catch that one live.
Yeah, that's stuff we don't see.
That stuff there as well from Shaz is pretty telegraphed. If you're seeing a May run headlong, make a beeline for a group of players that are sort of all collected up in one room.
I love that when you're playing at home and it's like a Zarya's just running at you in a straight line. It's like, I wonder what the play is here.
Well, that's why we used to see so many Zaryas. They just walk up. So many Zaryas walk up behind their Reinhardt shield and shoot the ground just to try and make sure they can get it. So it's tough. There's a bit of a lob on Snowball, It's very, very hard for that to be sort of surreptitiously placed down.
Or even just hit the wall, the corner with it.
Yeah.
Just don't let it get eaten by that Diva mech. It'll be Hurek playing Tracer here, so they'll go with Genji Tracer on defense. For the London Spitfire, your idea here for the Gladiators is to get Surefour set up in a good position on the 76, just being able to poke with a ton of damage. Interesting no Sombra here from London.
Yeah. Fisher with only 3 deaths, Jester with 9. Big difference between the two, and that's a good opening. Fisher there adding his damage onto the bunch. And it was Bishu there just to finish Profit off. That hurts for the Spitfire
I mean, the biggest difference in the first half was really between Bishu and Huyal. Bishu with 21 elims, 8 final blows. Huyal with 9 elims, 1 final blow. So you can see, the Diva play from Bishu, really making an impact.
Pound for pound, it looks like the Gladiators are up to the task, Matt. That's an exciting prospect for their fans in the crowd today, especially up against a powerhouse like the Spitfire. Jester taking a heck of a lot of damage. He needs to sort of just take a sidebar and try and get a little bit of health back. Wuyal also chunked on down. There's not a lot of burst healing here. Once again, you got a Zen and a Lucio, so getting people back up to full health can take some time, which is frustrating as a defender. Shore4 has pole position. I've called it before. He's in a great spot to get great damage, and Wuyal's mech's not going to be saved there by the Transcendence now. As Pulse Bomb dropped in, that's beautiful. Mini Diva out. Shore4 connects with a direct Helix Rocket, and now it's time for the tactical visor. Urek just vaporizes right in front of him. It is the primal rage being drawn out of Fisher, out of Gesture, should I say. It doesn't really account to much. Gesture finds Shaz. He's jumping back and forth. Shore4 wondering where the Monkey Menace had gone to, and he won't find out. The man's going to be sleeping with the fishes, whichever one's like the cold water. I don't really know which they are. I'm not an ornithologist. Actually, that's a bird scientist. Either way, the Gladiators, 2 ticks, almost a full count.
Gesture with Primal Rage, and then Closer comes in with a sound barrier, connects with himself, Hagapun, and Gesture, keeping everybody topped up there as that one got really scary for the London Spitfire. But a decent amount of ultimates invested from the Gladiators, right? You use Transcendence, you use Tactical Visor, Pulse Bomb, Sound Barrier as well. You used a ton of ults in that fight.
I was so far ahead in that fight, and then Gesture happens. Unbelievable. Well, here's the dive coming in defensively. Hagapun finds Big Goose early. A lot of healing now just being taken away from the Gladiators. It's all up to Shaz. Single target healing. He's also single target damage. He's dealt with Hurek pretty comfortably. That's a DMAC over there on Wuyal.
Yeah, that's a Pulse Bomb that connects on a Wuyal from Asher. But they don't have anything to do with this Dragon Blade that comes through from Prophet. It'll be Transcendence here. Prophet just kind of poking around, seeing when to use this.
Prophet,
is weak and taken out by Asher, so not going to have that Dragon Blade now.
You can see Prophet wasn't paying attention to Asher. He was looking at the self-destruct, trying to make sure he'd be out of the range. Hagapun might be in trouble, yet there's no way he's getting back. You might be able to float, but you can't fly. And the Gladiators have that first point, and then I'm done yet. Look at Fisher double jumping his way through. Time is of the essence. Gladiators know it more than anyone.
Yeah, well, now you don't have...
How fast is this?
Yeah, they're going to push the point. And now Shaz is going to get a Transcendence, so you don't have that Dragon Blade versus no support ult on the other side. It'll be Asher who takes out Gesture. Here comes the Tactical Visor from Shore4. The Gladiators trying to push for point B.
Good self-destruct placement does force the Gladiators back for a moment, but it's just a scared moment. Hurek just walks face first into a Helix Rocket. You can see the supports for the Spitfire sitting off to the side. And Prophet's trying to salvage the situation, but what can you do with a Dragon Blade to get the Transcendent and a Helix Rocket? Not a thing. Shore4 standing back. Gesture takes to the skies here. Another Primal Rage. His previous one was very impactful, but there's only so much one monkey can do. He's cut down eventually. Hagapun off towards the side. Can't really touch the point. He's too fragile on that Zenyatta. He falls. Bishu deals with him. Sound barrier now coming out for the Los Angeles Gladiators. Wuyal and Hurek trying to keep it going. Prophet comes in and finds Big Goose early, but it's just him. One man against the world, and it's not enough. 4 minutes, 12 seconds left on the clock for the Gladiators. They are well on track to take this map away.
Yeah, and that's where Prophet falling early really, well, falling with the Dragon Blade there at the end of point A really hurts him, right? Because they start to snowball.
Asher, didn't he?
Yeah, he starts to snowball into point B, and then by the time he uses the blade, he's like one of 2 players alive, and there's Transcendence on the other side at that time. Where, you know, you could have potentially used that blade to hold on to point A a little bit longer, but it is kind of difficult to use that Dragon Blade on point A, right? Because the offensive team can just spread out so far, so many areas that you can go.
Lucio's thing, get booped away by Diva or a Winston.
Well, that's the thing. If you dive in with the blade towards that backside of the staircase, to get up towards that high ground, if you're looking from the offensive side on the left-hand side, if you just get booped back by Lucio and then they just speed boost up the stairs, you get absolutely nothing from that blade. So I understand the kind of decision-making in Prophet's mind at that moment. Very hard.
The landscape for Genji players has definitely got tougher now that Lucio's once again become a bit more of a mainstay. This is interesting though. First time we've seen Widowmaker on this map today. And it'll be Hurek to bring it out. So obviously a bit more of a plan B.
Well, the Gladiators have 2 options of attack, right? I mean, they can bring a Widowmaker in of their own, and they can still go up towards that high ground, I guess. It would be just very difficult to kind of contest Hurek at long range, Soldier versus Widow. Or you can just decide as soon as you see that Widowmaker, that is the player we're diving, and just jump right on top of them. We saw that in the match when we cast it against the Philadelphia Fusion, right? Remember Carpe was playing the Widowmaker up on the high ground? As soon as they saw him, they jumped right on him. So we'll see now if the Gladiators decide to do the same thing that the London Spitfire did to the Philly Fusion.
Also, Hurek needs to respect Shaz. Those orbs of destruction, high velocity targets. We've seen many a Widowmaker felled by those in the past. Hubris sometimes can be a downfall. Asher's looking right now. He should have heard that grappling hook be used. So you can probably surmise at this stage that Hureg is actually above him.
And I think all Asher needs to do on the defense end is just push some shots in Hureg and just force him to turn, not kind of be a staple up on that high ground.
Oh, close it down. That's rough. No more mercy. Hureg now out in the distance trying to get shot. Shortfall brazenly trying to challenge at long range. Jester now needs to back away a little bit more if Wuyao does get desuited. Winston just chilling. He's actually baiting the rest of the Gladiators into trying to pick him off, and that's where Wuyao gets his damage from. He's trying to dodge just a slither of HP. Wuyao trying to connect with a Buddy Blaster.
They really wanted Gesture there. If they were able to get that kill on a Gesture, you have your own main tank coming off of respawn. You figure you would have had a little bit of advantage. It's an Infrasight that comes out from Hureg. Buys the London Spitfire some time here, as obviously the Gladiators don't want to push into that.
So, really? They're standing outside the gate?
Yeah, I just wonder how long you want to stick with this 76 before you potentially change to a Widow of your own, or maybe even a Genji. It's going to be a Transcendence that comes out. Fisher lands right on top of Hagapun.
Now, theoretically, the Gladiators don't use too many ultimates here if they forced out the Transmit. They get a certain kill! Ash is going to go for closer anyway. I thought with the Transcendence in play, they might have let Sleeping Lions live, but the Gladiators are going to be up with a roar. Asher finds Jesse here. That is going to be Hagapun. What do you do? Not a lot, my friend. He gets just completely plastered across the walls, and here it is. One tick is all the Gladiators need to get this round. Wuyao desperately throws himself into the sound barrier just for good measure, just for some extra color and effect, and that's it. Map 1. Gladiators coming up here. They go from win to loss every single week, but consistency definitely hasn't been their calling card. But they're looking like a different team now.
The coordination between Fisher and Asher is so much better than what it was with Remix and Asher in stage 1. Every time that Fisher lands on a player, Asher's right there with them. They're able to finish these players off. That kill on a Gesture was huge. He was just about to get Primal Rage. Helps Gladiators take map number 1.
And Hureg a couple moments here in the McCree to try and shut down the Sombra, but ultimately the Spitfire's attack was a little gutless. Didn't have the time bank they needed to carry this map out. First map going over to the Los Angeles Gladiators in our first match of the day. Map 2 just around the corner. Don't go anywhere.
Kill monkey. Send one. Nice job, guys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Today on Toyota Access Granite, I'm going to pick up Surefour and Asher for their match against the Los Angeles Valiant. Do you guys feel any extra pressure playing like for a Los Angeles team in Los Angeles?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. It's kind of like you're battling for your fans, and I feel like, especially last time we lost, I'm like kind of letting down the fans that believed in us over the other LA team.
It is kind of cool to have the crowd support, right? Every game.
People go nuts.
There we go, another clip from our next Access Granted coming out soon. Tell me, how does Surefour like your Migos a Little Pump playlist, Matt? How do you feel about that?
They made me turn the music off.
He literally plays the same songs every time I'm in his car.
It's not true.
They're like 5, and they all sound the same.
It's true.
Just putting it out there.
Look, I like the same things over and over again. I like having the same schedule. I like going home doing the same exact things. I like listening to the same music, eating the same things. I'm very regimented.
You're a homebody, and you've got a regiment and routine. There's nothing wrong with that. And the routine clearly for the Los Angeles Gladiators has been paying off, man. I got to say. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Hydration coming back into the mix, so that adds even that more spice. Yeah. Soak it up, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy's in.
His play on Hanamura the other day was just mental. Like on Genji, like he was just absolutely insane. So he can come in here on Li Sheng Tower and play, a lot of different things. Hydration's just like one of those players that like has so many like odd and niche heroes in his hero pool. Like, I mean, he can play Roadhog at a high level, right? He can play Doomfist here. Maybe some Pharah, Genji, Junkrat. So he's a player that when he comes in the game, you don't really know exactly what to expect because you can build your comps around him. And with these really just kind of, you don't want to say like almost like gimmicky picks, but like he can come out and play something like a Doomfist, right? And catch a team off guard. You can get the point right away. And then it forces you to just kind of change your whole game plan up and whatnot. He just gives a huge advantage to the Gladiators.
Well, I was just going to say that, man, because that's what I love so much about Hydration, because it's not gimmicky.
Yes.
It doesn't feel gimmicky. He brings in like a Doomfist, starts smashing people. I mean, his Genji Hanamura in that overtime, that was just
so good.
Unbelievable. And he was popping off. He was getting up on his feet. That guy's got a bit of fire in him there as well. It's great to see Brazil represented by such an incredible player here in the Overwatch League. And yeah, I mean, who knows? Farah's great for him. Can take that in Night Market, you take that for Garden.
Well, it also forces London when he comes into the game to kind of, you start second guessing some stuff, right? Maybe you have some game plans, Hydration comes in, you're like, oh, well, do you think they're going to play Dive? Do you think they're going to play Triple Tank? Do you think Doomfist is going to be in? So you're just kind of left guessing, where it's pretty much like a guessing game where if you come out with the wrong comp, you can just kind of get steamrolled right off the bat.
It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. And the opponent always picks Spock. I'm pretty sure he's the OP in that one. And the Big Bang Theory fans will be able to tell me. Let's jump in though. This is interesting. Orisa for the London Spitfire here. No Reinhardt, so perhaps a bit more of a static approach. They've still got the Junkrat and McCree in the mix.
Yeah, the Gladiators don't have that Reinhardt either. A lot of times we see this is the stage where, Reinhardt and Zarya are very prominent because, if there's a Junkrat on the other side, the Zarya can get charged up pretty quick, but it'll be London going with a little bit of a slower composition, so they expected probably a dive to come in here for the Gladiators, which they are right.
Gladiators, although have a composition that would imply a lot of aggression and wanting to dive on that Orisa, Gesture has to be careful. He's pretty vulnerable, pretty susceptible to these flankers. And look, that's the dive we're looking for. See Big Goose there, he's actually booping Gesture out of the way. Hago is down. Hurek just trying to do some skeet shooting here and fire at whoever presents themselves first, but he's not connecting. Maybe even a frustrated spray at the ground there. Big old step back for Hureg and the rest of the Spitfire. They've lost the point.
Yeah, no, Orisa is a pretty easy target for a Tracer.
Genji loves it.
Genji as well. I mean, Genji can just get so much ult charge off of an Orisa. So Gesture switches right away. So he switches off of Orisa. He will go over to Winston as Asher's coming on a flank here.
What do you think about this though? Like, what protection is there now for that Junkrat? Is there sufficient protection?
Even McCree.
Yeah.
I mean, McCree, if Gesture dives in on the supports of the Gladiators, they can just jump right on this McCree and just take him out with relative ease.
Oh, it's getting pretty spicy up in here. Prophet goes in, of course, gets himself a kill with a concussive mine, but Hydration's on that cleanup crew. It's time for a change for the London Spitfire. It's not been working.
And all it takes for the Gladiators to counter this is Gesture dives in, Big Goose boops him away, speeds out Shaz, and then the dive goes in on the remaining members. And Gesture has already used his leap, can't get back.
Gesture, by the way, trying to dive in a backline that has a Lucio in it, so you can boop them quite confidently away and then speed boost him and Shaz into a safer spot or into the fight.
And I mean, London, they're also running this Mercy ends in, not two mobile heroes themselves. It'll be
time.
Hydration with a blade. Oh, it's Prophet with a two-man Riptire, though.
Great turnaround.
Turn right back.
Yeah, really good turnaround, especially because Shaz had used that Transcendence in the fight. Of course, Transcendence can't protect you against that kind of burst damage, so great way to respond here for the Spitfire. And if we're talking rock, paper, scissors, that's definitely a good way to win that fight when it comes to ultimates interacting with one another.
Bishu gets really weak, so he's forced to back out. It'll be Huyal who gets on the point here. Some nice shots from Hurek at range. Will take out Hydration. Hydration was there just trying to contest. Let the tanks get tossed off with heals.
What is that? What is that? Just a fade away over the shoulder. Even Kobe couldn't have done it. Asher, that's so filthy. Just a flick, and he gets two of the most high priority heroes on the side of the London Spitfire. Blink and you miss it. When you need a miracle, this guy comes and delivers. 96%, 97. The London Spitfire just had every opportunity they had to take this fight taken away from them. There's no way they're getting back here in time. What a first round. Beautiful.
Man, Asher, he's looked like you know how we talk when we watch the Shock and you're like, how much better does Dante look? Like as the stage has gone on, it's like I feel like Asher is another one of those players who, you know, as the season has gone on, like just the structure and, you know, the practice regimen, everything has just really paid off for a player like him. It just looks amazing right now, just landing these pulse bombs constantly.
This makes the back of my the hair on the back of my neck stand up, to be honest. That was very, very clever. He approached 3 players there as well. Obviously, it was a flick towards the right when he released that pulse bomb. just doesn't care, and he's so cool, calm, and collected. And that's how it should be for the Gladiators. Now, we have it a garden match, so a bit of a composition change here for both sides.
Yeah, you're going to get the Pharah that comes in from both teams. We'll see if they just use a speed boost and then switch off to Mercy. Interesting. So you're going to see Pharah with no Mercy from both teams here. It's most likely you'll just try and keep that Harmony Orb on that Pharah up in the sky as Hagaput falls instantly. That is not good because now you don't have that healing up in the sky for Hurek. So you lose that Harmony Orb up. Just keeping that Pharah all topped up with heals is going to be London backing out for a little bit.
It's really interesting. I mean, from our view as well, perhaps Hago wasn't ready for Asher to have just triple blinked across and been there, but it was a very quick dispatch. Now what's Hydration looking to do? Oh, that's nice. That's nice from Hago. Now a bit of revenge perhaps to try and get some damage back across to the Pharah, but not enough to really keep him honest, if I'm honest myself. Big Goose at the boot. Closer off the edge. Not a great start for the Spitfire again. This is incredible stuff from the Los Angeles Gladiators, man.
And remember in stage 1 we talked about how big Zenyatta play was? Zenyatta is such a powerful support hero, can provide so much damage for your team and whatnot.
Sometimes when you nano boost him, it's even better.
Yeah, right now Shaz is sitting at 4 limbs, 2 final blows, 1 death. They're not exactly setting the world on fire. Hagaput is at 0 limbs, 0 final blows, 5 deaths, with only a little bit over 1,000 damage. So you really need more from that Zenyatta play.
Did Hago play Zenyatta in the previous stage?
I don't recall. They played Zen Mercy, so he had to have played Zen.
Asher now just waiting for an opportunity. His last pulse bomb was incredible. How do you follow that up? Well, that's how. Drop the bomb in, doesn't connect there. So Hago's able to get away pretty safely. And it's just as well for London because he had the Transcendence, and now he has it, should I say. And that'll be what they're looking to really use in this next fight. Hydration. Technically, there's enough burst damage here on Barrage to kill some people, but Hurek's going to be able to survive through most of it. No! Hydration catches him out despite the fact the Transcendence was in effect. The damage was there, and then a follow-up shot is beautiful. No, surely! Oh my lord! Hagaput just gets knocked off the map. It's so filthy. It's like Hydration and Asher are just trying to one-up each other. What a clever use of Concussive Blast at close range. Maybe Hydration's even shocked that that worked. Oh, I love it.
He's been feeling himself over the last few matches, man.
I'm going to run out of my voice by map 3.
Yeah. It's not ideal, but it happens.
We get another game today, man.
It'll be 70% and counting for the Gladiators here. Neither support ult online. Closer does have that sound barrier. Going to use it to engage.
Hago now looking pretty safe, but Asher still found him. The sound barrier expired, and so did his life. We are now just looking to try and mitigate the impact of Fisher with that Primal Rage. Right now he's found Bishu all on his own. Micro Rockets are off cooldown now, and that will be the finish off. But Asher has still been wrecking the backline of the Spitfire. Prophet's missing. Not only Prophet, of course, but Closer went down. We are able to self-destruct, though. That's a great way to catch Fisher out. In the meantime, the Spitfire managed to recapture the point, or in fact, capture it for the first time this round.
Yeah, so this is where you get into the decision-making of whether you keep the Pharah or not. It's very difficult to take these points back when you do have that Pharah on your side. You see just kind of like farming for long-range damage from both Pharahs up in the sky as Prophet trying to go this 1v1 battle with Asher is just kind of exchange places, since now Asher has gotten all the way behind enemy lines. But when do you switch off of the Pharah if you are the Gladiators? Maybe you bring in that Genji play.
And so much Hydration. I mean, he's got this barrage here as well. We saw the barrage even work.
May as well use it, right?
Prophet's recall gets forced really early on. Hydration fell to upgrade. Both supports are missing. Not good. Hurek finds Hydration. It's easy to kill the Pharah in midair when she's suspended with the barrage, and Big Goose gets another big boop off the map. 94% and counting. That was the first time that London actually held the point for this entire map, and it was short-lived indeed. Bishu, they're just trying to make sure no one gets onto the point, and now the London Spitfire will move into a bit of a stall. They at least get Gesture up on the point. Transcendence also being thrown into the mix. Big Goose doesn't respond with a sound barrier now. He's holding on to it for the time being. That's because Shaz has a trans of his own. Now sound barrier time. Urag's missing. Bishu found his mark. Asher looking worse for wear, but the sound barrier helping in a big way. And Gesture down. Big Goose is cooking it up in here. Hydration finding one more. Hugapun and Prophet are keeping their hopes alive, and Wuyao goes for a self-destruct in the window. This will force players off the point, but it's still under the control of the Gladiators, which means that the Spitfires still need to be stood on there. Hydration finds Prophet, mid-dash, it's 2-0 in this series. This will be a huge upset. The Gladiators don't seem to think so, though.
Fisher came out to play today. There's no way he can deny this is a match he's putting a little bit extra into. Finishes with 18 elims, 2 final blows, 2 deaths. Gesture on the other side, 3 elims, 3 final blows, 7 deaths. Fisher and Asher just are on another level in these first 2 maps.
Really, it might be hard to believe. I'll try and come into these matches and sort of build things up as we go, but this is just unbelievable. Look at that. Wuyao also got chunked down hugely by that one. Halftime's coming up, guys. It's 2-0 in favor of the Gladiators. What a match it's been.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Oh boy, Asher's dropping pulse bombs all over the place, and the Gladiators are rolling. They're up 2-0 in the half. Welcome back, everyone. Golden Boy here, alongside with Reinforcing Crumbs. And gentlemen, I mean, I can't believe this. I don't know. I feel like though you can though.
Yeah, I can believe it. I'm all protected from the realness here. Shields up, baby. Gladiators, this team is becoming one of my favorites now. Like, they are just putting on a show. Now that Fissure's in the lineup, Asher's just turning up, and they are picking on Gesture. They're really just, it's Fissure just making a statement, putting him in this place, saying it was you who should have been traded almost. But yeah, I know, right?
Spicy. Oh, I like that. That's nice.
You're Farah.
I'm like, let's align it. Let's align it. Move it over to the side. Yes. Yes. I embrace what I am. That's right. Justice reigns from above. You darn right. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the first highlight here for Volskaya. And this will stay behind me the entire time while we do so. Because Volskaya, I honestly thought we were just going to see reinforce. I thought we were just going to see London Spitfire just take this one.
I mean, yeah, that's what I thought as well. But actually, the Los Angeles Gladiators, they came into Volskaya with a plan, and they executed so well as well. I mean, you could see that they had a strategy in focusing down the tanks. Asher was instrumental in this Los Angeles Gladiators lineup. And then we saw the switches. We saw Shaz, a flex support on Genji, and then we saw him swap to the Mei. So I think Gladiators overall impressing with their strategy coming into this one.
Yeah, they also had the Sombra, which teams have seemed to be sleeping on for some reason. The Sombra is still a very strong pick in Volskaya, and it bought so much time on the first point for the Gladiators that by the time London finished the second one, they didn't even have the time to go for OT, which means that Gladiators was in a perfect position to go for it, and they have just been right hero swaps, right heroes to target. They have been just on point with their ultimate usage. They're just seemingly reaching another level today.
Very true. But I will say, though, and this is something we were talking about while the game was going on, they do have a tendency, though, to telegraph what they're going to do. And I think this is going to bring us up to our insights powered by Intel.
You can't do an awful lot with a Mei, of course, but they had a strategy going into it, and they know that London Spitfire, they're going to make this huge rotation around the corner as a team all through here. This is what they always do. This is what London Spitfire has done like 3-4 times now. But of course, Gladiators, they have a Mei, so they're going to use this Mei to block out the passage, of course. And it's executes so beautifully. I know that Uber and X talked about this during the game, but you can see here for yourself, a beautiful Mei wall coming in. Gesture and Wu Yall is stuck away from their team, of course, and the Los Angeles Gladiators are just going to focus them down. Asher put in so much damage throughout this series, so I think it's a beautiful strategy coming out. You know what the London Spitfire are going to do, and you execute accordingly.
And you know, just to highlight how much Asher was picking on Gesture this game, 13 final blows for Asher, 9 of them were on tanks. So they are just heavily prioritizing the front line of the London Spitfire because you figure, you know what, I'm not going to go for Profit and Hurek. I'm just going to focus the tanks, and that will also trickle on to the DPS and stunt them as well. So it's a 2-for-1.
And what I love about this is what we saw when they beat the Los Angeles Valiant, of course, is that they focused the backline, right? Asher was all about the backline, killing Verbo and killing Anko. And this time, they just changed up their strategy overall. Now they're focusing the tanks, and this is what great teams do, right? They adapt according to the matchup at hand. So this is huge progress for the Gladiators, of course. And I mean, given their current record, 3-2, potentially 4-2 after this, they're looking great this stage.
Night and day, it almost feels like, from what we saw stage 1 to stage 2, but that's what the Overwatch League is all about. But let's take a look at Lijiang Tower now, because again, we were expecting Spitfire to bounce back here, and not the case, Alberto.
This is so interesting because we knew, okay, are they going to try to focus Gesture again? He initially started out with the Orisa, making it a little bit harder to dive onto the support, but the Orisa is not that great at turning around and protecting your squishy targets if you have them be under attack. So that's exactly what the Los Angeles Gladiators did. They just went for the supports 24/7. They started picking on them non-stop.
Just like that.
Yeah.
They just changed up their tactic.
Instead of the 9-13 on tanks, it was 5 of Asher's final blows on the supports this time around. So they're constantly mix and matching, throwing London Spitfire for a curveball, and they do not know how to react to this one because on top of that, they're playing sublime DPS play.
Yeah, and we've been hyping up Asher quite a bit, and this play in particular that I do want to check out, because Asher's just been raining pulse bombs nonstop. He finds the opportunity, goes right for it, sticks it right into the pocket of Hurek. Bye-bye. You take out closer, you take out Hurek, and then you chunk a significant amount of damage onto the Diva. That just leads you into a great fight.
And you get the trans, which wins you the next fight as well. So that play carries on even further. You really can't, how could you get a better pulse bomb than that? With a Graviton would be really the only way you could pull something like that.
Yeah. Feels good, man.
Feels good.
So good.
So the story, though, I would say, coming into this has been Fisher versus his old team. It's very well known. Fisher wanted to play. He wanted to be in the spotlight, get that starting time. And now we see him here, and he is not disappointing anyone.
He isn't, but yesterday we talked about Gesture, and I know that Sideshow and Bren, of course, they talked about Gesture being potentially the best tank in the league. So it's not really that Fisher, you know, he deserved to be in the starting roster, of course, at London Spitfire, but now finally he has a team of his own that he can grow with and shape as he likes, because the Gladiators, they didn't look so good in stage 1, but now finally they're looking like they have a punch, you know?
I think you're exactly right on that one, Johnny, because it's a big difference to have these two players, and you could say that the players might be even identical in actually how good they are, but you have Gesture that has a bunch of stars already tested around him, so he's not going to be the focus of the team. He's going to be one of the other pieces, whereas you have Fisher, he's coming into the team supposed to be this savior that's going to turn everything around. Everyone's going to listen to him, everyone's going to follow what he's doing and try to make him look even better, and
I mean,
result,
just look at the stats. 44-7 in terms of eliminations versus deaths, and then you have Gesture 19-19. That's a huge difference. I mean, the stats just say it all, in my opinion.
Fisher has certainly been making a case for why he deserved to, you know, have been in that position. But I still agree, though, with Brendan Sideshow from the other day when they were talking about the strength of Gesture, him potentially being one of the top 3 tanks in the league. I do 100% believe this. I just think Fisher is playing so dang good.
Yeah, I mean, this is the grudge match you wanted, right? This is some your wrestling stuff, right?
That's
this
right.
is what you're all about.
That's right. This is what you. But who's the heel and who's the face? You have no idea what I'm talking.
No, yeah, I have no idea.
Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy?
I just know Ric Flair. He says woo and stuff.
There you go, Ric Flair.
Yeah,
Ric Flair. Woo.
How about John Cena?
Yeah. Oh, do we have Ric Flairs in the house?
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. I love that.
Can we get that instead of soon? You know, instead of everyone booing, we just have woo.
Oh, I mean, but soon's cool though. You know, it just sounds like they're booing. but then you get Big Goose, you can go Goose. You know, it works out really well.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
There were no Goose chants today, but there should have been.
There should have been.
There really should have been.
Guys, let me down. No Goose chant.
Now,
there you go. There you go. We have the power. All right, guys.
Yeah. Now, before you end this halftime segment, I just want to say we have King's Row coming up, right?
Yes.
So we might see some Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, and this is where it matters.
And this is
where it all goes down.
This
Fisher
is when you start to get all moist and stuff. Your face starts to get all sweaty. You know, this is it. This is it. Your moment.
Yeah, this is the Goku stuff, Dragon Ball.
Okay, that's not happening. All right, guys, I got the music, so that means we gotta wrap this one up. Kings Row coming up next. It may be some Ryan versus Ryan. Who knows? This guy's looking forward to it. We'll catch you on the other side. This game is awesome. We'll see you in a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, I love it. This crowd is awesome. So, Gladiators came out guns a-blazing. The score is 2-0. Guys, let me hear you. Where are my Gladiator fans? Yes. Let's see if they can finish it off and take it home. I'm going to send it on over to the casters, Mr. X and Uber. Guys, tell them what's up.
Don't mind if we do, Aaron. Yeah, halfway there, I guess. Yep. So they've got those 2 maps under their belt. Well, even more than halfway, if you think of it, in terms of only needing 3 maps to win the series. So what happens here for London Spitfire? Like, what?
A lot of changes happen.
We saw those stats at half-time. We've got 2 world-class tanks, and one of those was not like the other. Okay. All right. Scramble the Jets time. I see what's happening here.
So here's your quote-unquote like A team lineup for the London Spitfire. I mean, the players are so good overall. I can't really even say that. It's Bedosian that comes in for Hagapun, and it's Nuss that comes in for Closer. You also have Fury who comes in for Huyal, and then it'll be Birdring who comes in for Hureg. So you bring in a majority of this is really the roster that kind of went on that run in stage 1.
Gotcha.
So I like the decision to make those changes. Surefour comes in for Asher, so we'll be going to King's Row. So I think Surefour coming in for Asher gives them some different options. You can now run a quad tank if you wanted to with Hydration and Surefour.
Or even just the triples, right?
Yeah, Surefour can play Zarya at a very high level.
Can play that Pharaoh, which I think is really nice.
He can play first point. He can play Roadhog as well. Remember, we saw a little bit of Doomfist on King's Row in the past. So, you can see some Junkrat here. So I think when you look at the 3 DPS players that the LA Gladiators have, it's like Hydration's that wild card, can play a lot of different things. Surefour, you know what he can play. He can play the hit scan rolls at a high level. He can play Genji at a a respectable level, and then he can play some Zarya as well. And then I think Asher is really that. If it's a very tracer-oriented map, like a map that you 100% need that tracer on, Asher's always in the game. He's got to be that tracer player.
But today, or for this map at least, like you said, it's not really as much of an issue. We see so many teams sort of go away from that pick. We've seen like guys like Jake who might play the Tracer a bit, go to the Junkrat. We see it on a bunch of teams. The Widowmaker becomes more of a fixture. Orisa we've seen a little bit of, but generally up until now, Reinhardt has been the generally accepted way, especially to defend on this particular map, and then you switch to it as an attacking team for that second stage. Hanzo. This is where we get all the fun stuff, but I find it interesting. We're going to actually be coming out here with the Orisa for Fisher.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the Gladiators offense, you can actually play double sniper with Hanzo, Widowmaker as well. Right. So gives him a ton of options on the offensive end. It'll be the Gladiators on defense here first. This is something we have seen London do on defense, right? They have Orisa. They set up a shield for their Widowmaker to stand up behind. You see a Hydration planted a sneaky trap there.
Why Orisa instead of a Reinhardt, for example?
Well, Orisa, you can throw that barrier down up on that high ground and then move away from it, right? Gotcha. It's not like Reinhardt where you have to stand there out in the open. And let's say, for argument's sake, that barrier gets taken out from Reinhardt and you're standing out there in the open. That's 2 free kills, right? The Widowmaker and the Reinhardt. So with the Orisa, you can plant your barrier somewhere, play for another spot. London, they will go with, it looks like they're going to go Pharaoh Widowmaker here. Oh, okay, so Prophet's going to switch off this. He's going to go with Roadhog. So you're going to see triple tank Junkrat with a Moira out from the London Spitfire.
All right, you've got my attention, London. Let's see if this pays off. So plenty, a potential to break this Orisa shield down. Obviously, Birdring can just sort of barrage it.
Well, it also gives the option. I mean, now it's going to give a ton of ult charge to Surefour, right? Because 3 huge targets for him to shoot at. But do they finish these kills off, and how? They don't have like a Tracer or a Genji to dive in deep. It's going to be on Bijou.
I don't know if this is working. You saw immediately Prophet got knocked onto the low ground. Hydration's in a great spot now just to throw those concussive mines in. The entirety of the Gladiators have that high ground, but give it a tick away. They've actually allowed London to get somewhere on this point. Maybe a little bit of a late response for them. Maybe they're not sure what to do about this. It's just Bijou now on the point. Desuited already with a Coalescence in play. The Spitfire have got all the resources they need to finish this fight off in style. Something's gone wrong here for the Gladiators, Matt.
Yeah, and Nuss actually gets to the high ground, uses his Lucio wall climbing abilities, gets up right in Surefour's face, takes him out as well. The defense from the Gladiators, non-existent.
Look at Prophet. I think there must be a little bit of chatter about Nuss just wrecking Surefour in those last couple moments there. Don't see it every day. We didn't see it, of course, because he snuck his way around the backside and got up there in his face.
And Surefour will switch over to Pharah here, so there's no hit scan on the other side. Nobody who can really give him some troubles up there. As I say that, Birdring switches off. I think he had a Riptire there, switches off to McCree.
He gives up the Riptide, which is super fascinating. I guess, you know, he's probably frustrated. He can't do much at all, really, to a Farah as that Junkrat. Well, I mean, technically you can, you know, concussive mine yourself up and then throw another concussive mine to get the finish. Hydration in with the Riptire. Finds Nuss there.
You could also run the Riptire over one of these buildings, right? Just launch it
True, over the rooftops.
Yeah. But it'll be a kill with Hydration's Riptire that allows the Gladiators to stabilize a little bit here on the defensive end. So I think now the goal for the Gladiators is just apply a lot of pressure to this Reinhardt, right? Force him to start swinging, get that defense matrix out, let Surefour and Hydration just put down a ton of damage behind this.
Don't try and play the choke. You've got a lot of AoE damage with your DPSs here, so try and push them back and then get value out of them. But that's a huge Earth Shatter there. Transcendence being quickly employed to try and protect them, but again, 2 burst damage abilities came out. Fury self-destruct, Gesture's charge as well. It didn't matter if there was a trans in play. That got completely nullified. The Spitfire come up with the right response, and the Gladiators have really struggled to get a foothold in this map so far.
When the Gladiators used both of their support ults, they used Valkyrie and Transcendence there trying to keep everybody up. They keep nobody alive. So it'll be a full team wipe for the London Spitfires. Now you'll have Birdring getting close to a Deadeye, which, you know, towards this area, the map's actually quite good, right? A large open area where the Gladiators have to push up to try and get towards that payload. It'll be Bishu just trying to come around to get a touch, which he does. It'll be Hydration also using a Riptire. You're going to be able to take out Gesture and get a DMech on Fury. 2 big kills there, essentially, for Hydration.
Yeah, nick of time kind of stuff there. The Spitfire were very close to getting towards that first big checkpoint on this map. They're going to back away, and Prophet seems to be wanting to switch. He wouldn't walk all this way back for no reason. So perhaps you're going to put him on a DPS role. Get a Genji in the mix there. We'll see what the plan's going to be. No, we're going to keep the tanks going. Zarya coming in now for Prophet.
Yeah, he's going to try and, a lot of this just spam that's coming out from the Gladiators, just going to turn a lot of that into damage themselves, right? Just get him charged up on that Zarya. When you have Junkrat and Farah, kind of playing almost in the same way, right? Just spamming these chokes with just, whether it's rockets, grenades, just trying to get down any damage you can. Be a rocket barrage that comes out from Surefour. Don't see it connect with anything. See, it's just up over the top of that building. But it's going to be Hydration, the man picking up the kills. That's going to be 3 for Hydration, 1 for Surefour.
Surefour obscures sightlines towards him. He knows there's a McCree in the mix. He's still not afraid to play the Farah, so he needs to stick close to the rooftops and just peek a little bit over them to get those rockets in. The barrage again, I mean, he would have been super vulnerable using that if there was any, if Birdring was in any position to shoot him. Let's see what that was though. So Hydration's here, looking safe. I mean, you can do so much here, Matt. Throw the concussive mine in, throws everything into disarray. It's a chaotic fight, and Hydration just racks them up one after another.
Oh, well, it's you're trying to look up in the sky to do something to Surefour, and then you're just getting pelted with the grenades. It's going to be Bishu launching in a self-destruct. He takes out Birdring, who's switched over to Widowmaker.
Resurrect here.
The Big Goose using that Resurrect. It'll be Hydration with this Riptire just moving around the payload. Takes out Prophet with it.
I'll be honest with you, Matt, this isn't pretty, but it's working out for the Los Angeles Gladiators. They come forward, get aggressive towards the choke. Fisher can get out of here, even if he gets chased down. He does have a primal rage.
You can tell Birdring is just looking for an answer.
Switching.
It's McCree, it's Widowmaker, and it's back to McCree, just looking for anything that works. Now I think, because you don't want to run the Zen, you're kind of committed to this Moira, just getting a lot of value from her healing in these small areas, able to heal multiple people. You switch over to Mercy here, as now you'll be able to pocket Birdring a little bit, give him that damage boost.
All right, Fade already used there by Bedosin on that Moira, so he's a little bit vulnerable for the time being. Birdring, does he know that Farah is above him? Does Fisher now in a position to look for Nuss, but Nuss is able to sneak outside, trying to segregate him from the rest of his team, but in the process, no. The Gladiators have lost their peel in the back line. Big Goose and Shazza down. Surefour and Fisher now trying to salvage the situation. One rocket and a fadeaway. Surefour now trying to get back to the payload and attend to it, but it's a coalescence in mid-air. Bedosin chunks him out. It's going to be Bishu DC'd as well, and that'll be a fight lost for the Gladiators there. Bedosin, huge work, 2 kills for the coalescence. Easily picking Surefour out of the sky there. They will get that checkpoint. 2 minutes, 15.
I like the change from Surefour a lot though here. Obviously Farah not going to excel on the defensive end here towards the later part of the map. Goes with Widowmaker, so you're going to have a Bird. I imagine Birdring, when he sees this, yep, he'll switch over. So he switches over to a Widow. You have Bedosin, who gets an early pick here on the Hydration. As Bedosin is really, on the Zenyatta, been a big player throughout the season thus far. He goes back to that hero after playing Moira up until this point.
I think he has the highest critical hit accuracy on Zenyatta's in the Overwatch League right now, so you're seeing him really line up a lot of those salvos of Orbs of Destruction and finish kills.
Well, remember how I kind of mentioned those stats on Lijiang Tower between Shaz and Hagapun? Right now, it's the complete opposite way. Bedosin is 15 limbs, 5 final blows, only 1 death. Shaz, 2 limbs, 0 final blows, 3 deaths. chest. So you see what having that extra damage dealer as support in the background does.
In the Spitfire's loss to the Outlaws actually earlier on, they did the same thing. They lost the first couple of maps with mostly that GC Busan roster, then they made the switch up to what we see now, and it didn't actually work in that series for them. It was like they weren't able to sort of stop the momentum that had been built up. But here it seems as if these players would come in far more warmed up, ready to sort of, you know, take the place of a lot of those GC Busan players who got subbed out.
Yeah, speaking to a lot of the players, it's just kind of hard to come in later in these series. It'll be Fisher who dives in, puts down a ton of damage, allows Surefour to get a sightline onto Badoshin. It's going to be both support ults here, though, used for the Gladiators to push them back, as Nuss does use Valkyrie here, but you will have a little bit of an edge for the Spitfire when they come back with their Transcendence.
Great spatial awareness from Prophet there to sort of understand the fight was done. He had a pulse bomb. There were a lot of big tanky bodies sort of right near him. He could have got a lot of value off that one potentially, but he kind of was aware that the follow-up wouldn't really be forthcoming. Oh! Daddy's here! Surefour lights up, Burnring down, and what a nasty time for that to happen, Matt. There's only 30 seconds left in the round for the Spitfire to push on.
And you see that Fisher and Bishu just make a beeline for Badoshin, able to just take him out instantly. This dive is so coordinated between the players on the LA Gladiators. It just shows you what, the main tank, obviously, they can play great. That also aids to the DPS players in the off tank as well. You're seeing everybody starting to click now for the Gladiators.
Oh, they've woken up, and it's not a moment too soon, Matt. Badoshin goes down early. That double strike could be dangerous. Surefour gets quickly behind some cover. He finds it. Now he needs to steal his nerve and pick these players off, and he's done it. Gestures down. In the distance, you can see that Fury is going to get DC'd himself. Fisher just comes back to the payload to say hello and lands directly on top of Fury. What a showing. It was a tough map in general for the Gladiators. So many switches on both sides. Surefour going to the Widowmaker towards the end. The Farah did well, and then he had to switch off it. We saw Birdring making multiple changes here. How interesting to see the Spitfire fail to finish ostensibly their home map, but more importantly, the fact that they don't get to the end of King's Row is a worrying sign for them.
And I think it is very difficult to come in here, a little bit later in these series, right? When you're already down 0-2. As you come in, the team morale is kind of down, right? Maybe you've been practicing in the back a little bit, but it's not the same as being like in the actual thick of things in the game. We can take a look here.
How good is this guy?
Fisher's POV is just absolutely just incredible. And I think that you kind of talk about how his play has been, right? His play has been very good. But, his decision-making also affects Bishu's play, right? And then Bishu's play kind of trickles down to Asher and Surefour and Hydration.
Cascading effect.
It has a huge just effect on the overall team.
And that's what, to me, Matt, is a team that is more than the sum of their parts. You know what I mean? Together in the way that they work together, they're far stronger than they are individually. That was a really impressive use of Primal Rage there from Fisher. He denies Fury the chance to sort of stall things out. It's happening. Oh, we've started something.
And I also think it goes to show you that one player subbing in and out does make a huge difference, right? It can just the decision making and whatnot can trickle down to numerous players, leadership, right? I think when you have Asher in the game, right, somebody who speaks his native language obviously helps him being able to coordinate and understand.
And Bishu doesn't have to also translate because between Fisher and Asher, they were going to work together anyway, right? So, and you see their dive, the hammer and anvil, the pincer play that they're coming up with has just been perfect. So then, maybe, Bishu can relay between the back line and the front line a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. A lot of teams have their calling structures separated into back and front line anyway. So Bishu's like the bridge between the two, and it's working. It's working so well against this kind of team. Oh, dear, Hydration. He's back though, no worries. We got some mercy.
That'll be about as early as a res as you can possibly get. So London will be playing a little bit of a variation of that, Orisa comp, right? Where you don't have the Orisa up on the high ground. You're not running the Junkrat.
You're not standing on the point at all.
Oh, and it's Bishu who gets up to that high ground, and they're able to take out Birdring right away. So you lose that Widowmaker, just a huge presence up there.
Oh, that's a headshot. One more. He gives it the punch. The open palm of peace is enough to dismantle Badoshin. That's beautiful. Look at this. The Gladiators didn't even worry too much about the point. Surefour, what presence of mind to flank around and deal with Badoshin as he was trying to get to safety. Jesh is brought back up to life, Matt, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this stage.
Well, once they jump right on top of Birdring and they're able to take him out, you need to almost try and get that res off because there's nothing to get Hydration out of the sky. And then you're still worried about Hydration up in the sky. That Surefour is just able to land down a ton of damage here on Hanzo with some free shots.
You know what Hydration in the sky is called, Matt?
What?
Rain.
Man, you've been hanging out with Golden Boy for too long.
Hydration
only been a few days, but it's been too long.
Getting close here, at least to his barrage. getting a lot of free damage off those. God, how did he hit Nuss there? That's filthy. Getting very close to this one. So needs to do a Fury. Fury needs to sort of be decent, but Nuss is out. Hydration got him around the corner. His Pharah has been unbelievable this match so far. I mean, Li Jiang Tower was just a masterclass, and this seems to be in the same vein. But Shaz and Shawfall lack the mobility to get away from that self-destruct, but Ocean's still down. The Spitfire is still being forced to pay hefty tolls to try and slow the Gladiators down. Oh, that's beautiful! Bishu and Hydration combined so well. Out of position, Birdring was.
And somehow Bishu's able to stay alive through that. I believe it's Big Goose who barely gets to him to keep him in his neck as the payload continues to move here. You'll have this Dragon Strike from Surefour, which will be pretty good to just zone players out, right? They won't be able to just kind of fly on through as it's going to use it early to get Gesture out of position.
Talk about playing on the hot seat there. Gesture is forced to use his jump, so a couple seconds. It actually does make a difference here. It means that it's a later setup for the Spitfire. And it's going to be a Mercy ultimate. So we're going to see Nuss use the Valkyrie. They're going to get aggressive behind him. Hydration's looking for the backline. But Hydration's called out on his own. Force the Transcendence. Not the worst result here for the Spitfire, but they're going to be missing that important healing ultimate as his fight continues. Hydration gets airborne once again. But Prophet, he saved his team in his fight. He's found himself 3 already. Big Goose and Shaz both fall into his hand. And Fury now getting involved. Prophet, 4 kills. Get out!
So maybe the Gladiators, you use some of those ultimates. You try and force out the support ults because you want to make some changes. Surefour will play Junkrat here. Bishu will get taken out here by Bedoshin towards the end. What I was wondering is Hydration going to stay on the Pharah here. Obviously, you know, it worked out quite well for Surefour on the defensive end. We can take a look from Prophet's POV.
Great recall timing there. He almost went down. Just cleaning up. Gotta love it.
He's so good at every hero. Like every time we go on with him, or every time we show a stat, he's like the top of the league, and all the heroes that he ends up playing is you see he's just kind of chilling here with a pulse bomb. Oh, Bishu comes on a little bit of a flank, catches him off guard.
Prophet and Gesture are the best combination unless it costs you $1,000. You know, on this roster, these guys are just insane together. You see Birder in there as well. Hydration being removed already, so Pharah out of the picture. Perhaps this will provoke a switch. I mean, we saw Surefour stick to the Pharah and it kind of worked out fairly well, but now the Gladiators running out of gas a little bit. Bishu there on Bishu.
And Fisher uses Primal Rage to actually knock Birdring out of line of sight from a lot of players when he uses that Deadeye. So just uses the Deadeye, gets absolutely nothing for it. It'll be Nuss who uses that res.
How did he farm that trend so quickly?
He's got in a row, pretty much.
That's ungodly. Well, it's also godly, but...
It'll be Bishu who gets demeched here. It'll be Birdring who takes out Shaz. So maybe
they're just chasing this up now.
I wonder if you need to change off this far. Maybe just play like, you know, you can play like Junkrat Genji here, I guess, or no, maybe even like roll in with a Roadhog. I mean, Roadhog would be, it'd be a little bit of a risky pick because then you allow Prophet and Birdring to just kind of farm ult off of Hydration.
As Taimu called it, no one on the server has any fun.
Yeah.
Roadhog. I mean, that's an option, man.
I mean, just to get a little bit more sustain on the payload there, it's going to be Valkyrie used from the London Spitfire here at the beginning. So Gladiator's just trying to stay alive here. Doesn't look like it's working.
Johnny! Gesture jumps in twice there. Both of his jump packs, Matt, were used so well. First one, I think it scared the poop out of Surefour at that point. He had no idea what was going on. Second one, it finished the kill. Hydration still has plans, though. Grand design. Oh, he's got 2 from long range. Birdring and us have fallen. No mercy now. Bedoshin, how have you had this a 3rd fight in a row? His 3rd Transcendence in 3 fights. It's so filthy. And it's working so beautifully for the Spitfire. This man is getting so much value, but now the Gladiators, they're going to keep pushing forward. They're determined. They have the resolve, and Bishu's now going to try and hunt down Fury, get him de-suited. He does manage to do so. Self-destruct though, so Fury will be back in the mech in due time, but this is the last fight now. The Spitfire need to gain position and get up close, and Surefour's been brought back after falling to Birdring. Hydration now starting to get a bit punch-drunk over the point. Prophet falls there, concussed him by and claimed his life, and now it's Fisher to deal with Birdring. The master, the virtuoso, the maestro of Doomfist is in session. And you can see he's laying in the fists. They're going to get that 2nd checkpoint now. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 36.85 meters to go.
It was Big Goose with a big Valkyrie there, able to keep everybody topped off on heals, and Bedoshin gets another Transcendence. The guy just building up these NLs so fast. So it's going to be a triple tank here from the London Spitfire at the end, with Birdring playing Widowmaker. They don't really have anything. Well, Hydration switches off of Doomfist, goes over to Pharah. He can contest that Widowmaker a little bit, but this Riptire could be the game.
Happy birthday, Reinhardt! Gestures down. Quickly, the Spitfire have to get him to the payload because they lost their Reinhardt, the only player that was keeping it stalled out. It's no good! It's no good! Shields up, and the Gladiators have won the series already. I can't believe it. These guys, What a struggle the last few weeks have been. It's been up and down. These guys are like a yo-yo.
And they are one map away from having a perfect week against the Valiant and the Spitfire. Wow. The Gladiators, they obviously take some time to incorporate a new player into the lineup, but they're starting to figure it out with Fisher.
Last stage's champions, the London Spitfire. They bring out the GCP Sun roster early. It doesn't work. They try and switch. They try and go for the big guns. And even those guns just weren't high caliber enough to deal with Shawful and co. What a match this has been so far. We get one more map as a special treat to finish things off. We'll see you after the break.
Fisher, help Fisher. Heal Fisher. Guys, pick up. Fisher med. Fisher one. Yeah, listen. Winnable. Ring point. Careful with McCree, help me. Nice rest. Woo, let's go. Fisher one. Nice. I'll check.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
And live. Welcome to the party.
Oh my goodness! No! So many stars on this lineup. And this is where we see the high quality Overwatch, everybody.
Fun and games. It's time to get the job done. Well, how about a bit of this one to get you started on a Saturday, ladies and gentlemen? We come here, it's a 3-0 lead and a victory in the series, of course, for the Gladiators over the London Spitfire, Matt. They tried to bring back in the old guard, the A-team as it were, and the A-team just doesn't want enough. They should have brought in Mr. T earlier on, bro.
Yeah, I do want to say for London, though, Bedosian had a hell of a map. I mean, we saw how fast he was getting that Transcendence time after time in that Zenyatta roll.
One EMP per fight for a Sombra is like pretty crazy. One Transcendence in a fight for Zenyatta per fight is just absolutely bonkers.
He was getting his Transcendence on average like every minute and 25 seconds, 27 seconds. So
I mean, Shaz wasn't far behind him. He was about 12 to 15 seconds behind him.
It's just the elims and the final blows for Bedosian versus Shaz in that match. But it doesn't matter, right? Because the Gladiators end up taking map number 3. They take King's Row. Asher, I think, comes in here for the Gladiators because you probably want to play Sombra Tracer on the defensive end. Surefour can play the Sombra. And then you can also have Asher just play that Tracer, get a good dive on. On offense, you could have Surefour play something like, you could play like Widow or 76 with that Tracer. So like we talked about earlier, when there's a Tracer map you want Asher in, his synergy with Fisher and Bishu has been incredible.
Worth bearing in mind as well that London themselves are in a bit of a transition period right now. Obviously, you know, new coaching staff coming in. Also, it has been announced as well that new player being brought on board, Tizzy.
Yes. Coming
on board from Runaway, which is going to be fun. So, you know, they're, in a sense, it's kind of hard to imagine like the Kings of Stage 1 sort of rebuilding, but that is what's happening, perhaps just to a lesser degree.
It is. I know, like, for the fans, right? It's like, oh my God, like, we're losing these matches. But, like, for the teams, it's like, it's a long season. Like, we are in Stage 2. You know, probably, like what? It's, like 14 games in, pretty much, 15 games in, to a 40-game season. Like, you know,
the only advice we can give the London fans is to sit back, sip that Earl Grey, pinky out, have a crumpet, and just keep an eye on for the rest of the stage.
It's just like in the NFL, right? You know, when teams are great early in the season and then like they flame out for the playoffs, all their fan base is like, like, we peaked at the wrong time. Like, you want to be
Dallas Cowboys
good at the end. It's the Dallas Cowboys every year. I can't really say anything as a Giants fan because we don't even make the playoffs.
I was chirpy,
but any opportunity I have to take a shot at Puckett and the Cowboys.
Yeah. I'm in there. I'm all about a Who Dat Nation, Matt. I'm all about that. Well, let's jump in now. Again, we see Surefour and Asher here, so I think we sort of mentioned that. We expect to see that Sombra Tracer play from them. Surefour has been very, very good on that Sombra thus far. The Spitfire, gesture in on the Roadhog here. So again, it's without a main tank. We've seen teams doing this. Just play with sort of 2 flex, I'll use air quotes, flex tank picks.
Well, there's not a ton of damage at range on the side of the Gladiators, like a 76 or a Widowmaker you have to worry about. So really on the side of London, you're playing like a really pick-centric comp, right? With the Widowmaker, with Roadhog, you know, Prophet able to dart behind on Tracer, finish some of these kills off, potentially. Just have to wonder how fast Surefour can farm up this EMP. Already about halfway there.
Surefour receives an admonishment from Birdring, just a tap on the wrist, back off. Get off my lawn. He doesn't actually connect with the headshot there. So Asher down. So having this Roadhog here, I mean, the pick potential is quite real, right? You've got the Widowmaker, you've got the Roadhog in the mix. You've also got Zenyatta's. Shaz finds Bedosian, a Big Goose falls there to Birdring. Tough to get the headshots on Ana.
Yeah, and us playing Mercy will just res Bedosian right up. So that pick that Shaz got relatively means nothing now, as Bedosian back in the game. It's going to be the London Spitfire just kind of moving this payload really uncontested. Kind of playing around the Surefour EMP, but they just don't have everybody alive here.
Yeah. Prophet there, out there just like a guard dog, just trying to make sure that the Gladiators don't push back in numbers. This has to happen really quickly here. Only 2 seconds left, the EMP. All right, Bedosian low, but he's getting healed. It's not going to be enough, though. Despite the pocket from Nuss, he still collapses. And Nuss has to back away. The rest of the Gladiators can actually take position without having to use too much more. They just get that one pick. It's enough to force a Spitfire back. They've also chased down Nuss there on the Mercy, and now they can take a breather.
That was a really nice individual play from Surefour. So he goes all the way up in that right-hand side, connects with an EMP on both supports and Birdring. His teammates, they jump on that payload. Instead of going for the dive on the hack players, Surefour is able to stay up there long enough to actually take out Bedosian, allow his teammates to just breathe a little bit there on the point, but it's going to be Birdring who takes out Shaz here with a headshot at range. You're going to lose a lot of that healing. It's going to be Transcendence used as well as a nano boost is given to Fisher.
Big Goose is getting picked off a fair bit so far. The second time now. First one being on the end of a shot from Birdring. So Asher and the rest had to kind of salvage the situation there. Jester can't do too much. He's just a walking pork chop when he's hacked. And Asher finishes him off. However, off screen it was Bedosin that cleaned up Shore4. So still a 1-for-1 trade, which keeps the Spitfire at an advantage, not only in spawn distance, but also in players. Self-destruct on the point. Asher needs to use the payload to break line of sight, and he does so, but he's losing teammates here. They're hemorrhaging players here, Matt.
Yeah, and it was Big Goose making a switch over to Lucio as he goes back into the respawn, trying to bring his teammates back a little bit faster. Not going to work out, though. So London Spitfire roll over the Gladiators to take point A.
You can see the Spitfire really feeling like a bit of biffo, a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of a brawl, Matt. Bedosin in that fight, playing close range, still using charged orbs of destruction, finding kills up close. Well, we spent so much time talking about Jonak, right, on the New York Excelsior. In a lot of statistics, Bedosin is actually stronger in general. So these two guys, it's kind of pick your poison or pick your flavor if you're a fan.
Well, I
Both
think,
sort of doing different things.
I think with London, it's like we've talked so much about it, like how great like Birdring is and Fury and Prophet, that like Bedosin just kind of gets like lost in the team, but he has been fantastic on the Zenyatta, really consistent as well.
I want to pull up on Watchpoint. We'll do this next week, and let's get a head-to-head between those two and sort of examine their strengths and what we expect to see from either of them, because there's two of the most fun Zens to watch right now. Shore4 finds Bedosin though, so speaking of the man, cast the curse, strikes again. Prophet, a little bit of extra damage on a tank would mean have a pulse bomb. He didn't even need to use it to finish off Fisher, which is pretty big. The Gladiators are struggling to get a foothold here, Matt. This is a really weird, long, drawn-out, one-by-one fight. They're trying to die in the payload, which I get.
Yeah, you just never seen the Gladiators really outside of that first push that comes in from London really have all 6 players alive. So trying to push in here, it's going to be the London Spitfire with a 1-player advantage. Prophet takes out Jester. So now it's just going to be Bishu and Asher alive as Bishu will fall. It forces Asher to back up, but now you're still waiting, for Bishu just has spawned in. Fisher, Shore4 as well, so you're waiting for a lot of players. Birdring is going to gain a ton of information using that infrasight. He's going to see that changes have come in. So Big Goose, the last spawn he switched over to Mercy. Now Shore4 will go over to Genji, so he's going to try and put a lot of pressure up on Birdring up on the high ground.
Very tight angle for Birdring there. He's just hoping to catch someone as they push out. Bedosin actually gets caught there. It's unclear how close he was playing to the payload, but Shore4 was able to find him regardless. Shurikens was what did the job. Birdring backs away. That Transcendence is definitely enough to scare the Spitfire into taking up some more defensive positions. But Birdring now cheekily wraps around. He's given away his position now, but it doesn't matter because he got the damage, and Fury got the finishing blow on Asher. Now Bishu there, out in the open, takes a big hit. He knows that Shore4's hunting for him, but Bishu suspended in midair. Can't do anything to avoid the bullet. That was inexorably targeted right for him. Birdring, bit of a slap there. And again, you can see a lot of the fight unfolding from Birdring's positioning. He is being threatened, but the rest of the Spitfire, Matt, are coming to his aid. And this has just been a white. I don't think they've lost one fight, maybe.
This has been a clinic by the London Spitfire. Just dominating.
Puts a damper on things a bit for the Gladiators, They look so clean in the first few maps, but this one hasn't been great for them.
Regardless, it's still a win in the series, though.
I'm
sure. You would obviously want to win this map, though. Finish it out strong.
Get you that big map differential boost.
Asher will now try his hand at Widowmaker. We saw Shore4 played a little bit earlier, but now you're trying to put the utmost pressure on, right? It's going to be Transcendence forced out there by Shore4. That's pretty big, because he's going to have a blade quite soon.
Yeah, job done for Shore4 as far as he's concerned. What the Gladiators don't want to do is give away too much ultimate percentage and sort of lose the fight too hard after forcing that out. So they're trying to back away, excuse me. Shore4 cops a glancing blow there from Birdring and he's able to survive it. But the Big Goose just gets smashed by Prophet. He's been really in the mix right now. He's going to try and chase down Shore4, who can only run away. He just has to run back to spawn or try and hide a wall climb elsewhere because the Gladiators can't do anything so staggered. This is good. Clinical, like you said, Matt. Aggression from the Spitfire. The payload still hurtling at a rate of knots towards the end of this map. And the Gladiators haven't really put up a staunch defense at all yet.
Yeah, and you're going to have a Valkyrie to try and heal through this Dragon Blade that's going to come in from Shore4. It's just a matter of when he decides to pop it. There's Transcendence, here's going to be the blade.
Okay, Shore4 has the blade, but it's not being backed up by the Transcendence right now. He wasn't playing inside the healing. It was supposed to be those two abilities used in tandem combined. So Shore4 had a bit more robust healing available to him, but he went too far. He overextended past where Shaz was, and his blade was for nothing.
So it'll be a self-destruct launched in here by Fury, just trying to buy some space. So it'll be Shore4 now on McCree, switches off of the Genji after using that blade. It'll be Bishu gets one with a self-destruct.
Oh, that's interrupted!
Yeah, it's going to be Bishu actually dives into Nuts as he's going for that res, pushes him out of the way. Nice play there from Bishu.
Love to see it. Shore4 there. Fury, they're going to keep him staggered out. Yes, he was missing some shots. He didn't kill it when he wanted to, but, going to let Fury stay alive. Bit of a tickle here as well. Bit of a shocking reception. no. Oh, yeah, I hate to see it. Wait, he's going to get rezzed, actually. Or not. Can Nuss res him? No, Nuss is just going to... Okay. I guess he's just dancing the Nutcracker suite. I'm not really what the plan was there. Not sure what the plan was there. Either way, Spitfire going to wait. And we'll be rejoined in just a moment by Fury. Asher has other plans, though. Getting another D-suit would be big. 30 seconds left in the round. Will this round go like King's Row, where the Spitfire looked so good early on and then just completely fizzled out?
Yeah, I think Nuss doesn't end up rezzing him there because it would have been so loud with that mech coming down, and you wouldn't have had anybody that can get up to the high ground to protect him if everybody came through for the Gladiators. It'll be Asher who takes out Birdring. It'll be get the benefits of a sound barrier here as well. He throws that pulse bomb, though, right into Fury's mech.
Shaz, two Transcendences, 2 fights. That's beautiful stuff from him. He does eventually go down. Bidoshin finds his opposite number, but that was timely use of that support ornament. Nuss just walks straight into the Deadeye. Oh, you look very pretty up there, Bidoshin, but there's not much to be done when your team isn't on the payload, sadly. Great stuff there. Last couple of fights from Shaz were huge.
And I think London did a great job of following up on the damage that Birdring was putting down on Widowmaker. He finishes with 10 limbs, 5 final blows. But you look over at Prophet, 17 limbs, 10 final blows, and then Gesture with 6 final blows as well, just finishing off these kills and the damage that he's putting down.
Gesture looking good as well on this map, looking better. Fisher a little bit more muted, a little bit quieter. Obviously, remember, you're playing up against like a D.Va and a Roadhog as a Winston for a lot of that time, so it's very, very hard to feel comfortable or confident as Winston when you know that, Roadhog's just going to come in and give you the old meat tenderizer, you know what I mean? He's just going to start slapping you about with a scrap gun, and there's not a whole lot you can do. Your dive is also really easily interrupted by either a chain hook or a D.Va using her boosters to knock you off course. So that's probably why, one reason why Fisher might have struggled a little bit more in this map, but we were seeing good play out from the Widowmaker there. The Sombra had its moments for sure for that first point. Didn't really, make it allowed him to win that one fight.
Yeah, it was just Birdring who was able to get a support, I feel like, on Widowmaker, like every fight, which really, at that point, you're using EMP, player down. It's very hard to get a great use of it. I mean,
Bidoshin has very similar damage to Birdring, as more than Gesture. So, it's between like the tanks and Birdring and Bidoshin, the damage is quite even. Prophet's a little bit ahead there, but you get to see consistent contributions in terms of those big numbers. And Shaz was doing the exact same thing, by the way. About the same damage as Shore4 is what Shaz dealt in that round. More than Asher.
I just think you see in a match like this just how impactful main tank and flex support those two roles are in Overwatch League. I think those are you look at every top team, where are they really solid in main tank and flex support always?
And look, some people got a little bit upset. We did the Nanzas and I talked up a lot of flex supports in terms of the damage that they deal. But the reality of the game is this: you got to kill the enemy team, right? And if you can not only heal but also smash people and wipe them off the battlefield, that makes you an excellent flex support in the Overwatch League.
So the Gladiators have definitely expected a Sombra on the side of the Spitfire, because you have May Roadhog Reaper come out on the offensive end. So
this is the, do you really want to dive?
And with Shaz playing Moira, obviously a ton of healing, but a lot of HP among these heroes, right? Obviously May can self-heal with the Ice Block, same with Roadhog. Asher, he's able to have some lifesteal with his weapons. It's just they kind of lack that long-range damage right now.
Yeah, so I guess trying to break line of sight from things like enemy Widowmakers is super important here for the London Spitfire. For the Gladiators. They'll try and use big L's as much as they possibly can, and also just hide behind the payload. They want the Spitfire to come to them. Again, talk about this Cactus comps, these anti-dive compositions. This has that kind of element there. It's dangerous, very dangerous for someone like Gesture to dive in, but Shore4 gets picked off. Good combination between Prophet and Gesture once again to remove the mate.
And it'll be Birdring also using that info site, getting a lot of information here, knowing where the members of the Gladiators are. It'll be, long-range hook there as Asher finishes him off. The Coalescence use as well from Shaz, keeping everybody topped up.
He knew he had to do it.
He makes a beeline right for Bidoshin. He gets him to use that Transcendence, though.
I like this, though. The Transcendence, a lot of value gained from that. There you can see the Spitfire just huddling together. A lot of these bigger bodies really benefiting from how much healing. You could see we were on board with Fisher for quite some time. He used his take a breather cooldown just before he got pulse bombed, and he was clinging to life with about 70-odd HP. The Gladiators, obviously, again, Moira can give you that healing conditionally, though. She needs to have done enough damage with Biotic Grasp to be able to provide healing in that same ability. So it can be tough to keep those bigger bodies up, and we see the switch now.
Yeah, and I feel like the Gladiators gain a little bit of an advantage there. They force out Transcendence, Valkyrie as well. They have their sound barrier here, and now they're going to get aggressive. They're going to dive.
All right, bit of a Bit of a switch up in pace for them. Oh, Asher, big hit taken there, probably from Birdering on the McCree on that high ground. You can see, yeah, he's looking to try and remove that Tracer before Asher can do any real damage. So far, though, Asher hasn't been controlled very well, and oh, Gesture now. Yeah, gotta go for the Primal Rage. He had no other choice. He's off to the left there. You can see him trying to hunt down Shaz now. So he's turned his self-preservation attempt with the Primal Rage into a kill onto Shaz with the help of Prophet. Really nicely done. Another clean fight for the Spitfire.
Yeah, they're not even able to hunt Gesture down and finish him off. Gets back up on top of Big Earls, gets that healing. Asher, he'll jump off the side, doesn't want to just get staggered out once to spawn with the rest of the team.
Blink charges, yeah.
And that was a fight where you thought the Gladiators maybe would have had a little bit of an advantage at the beginning, right? They had that sound barrier, no support ult on the side of the Spitfire, and just like that, now the Spitfire have their Valkyrie, and they're going to have Transcendence for this next fight.
Pulse Bomb for Asher can scuttle that particular ship, Matt. Spitfire now, they're very aware of Asher already. You can see how Berdering's trying to play around. Oh, it doesn't matter! Just gets dived on. Nice use of the micro rockets to get the extra DPS across the line. Birdering and Shawfall are actually traded out though. Fury must have made a beeline for the Cyber Ninja on the side of the Gladiators and cleaned him off. Whilst we watch Birdering get turned into, well, meatballs. Prophet recalls, now inside Big Earls. Just be a little bit careful. He can't recall again for the next 8 seconds, so needs to stay safe. He's found Shaz. There's also a pulse bomb. Is he going to go for the 2-for-1? Yep, they're going to attempt it anyway, but the supports get away. Big Goose gives that speed boost to him and Shaz. They can get out of jail, get out of trouble. And that's Fisher now. He's getting mad. Primal Rage has found himself in a position now to actually do even more damage after finding those first couple of kills. Prophet and Gesture down.
He wants Nuts real bad. He gets him low, just trying to hunt this Mercy player down.
Come to me!
The movement here by Nuts has been fantastic. He finally falls.
He got him. Oh, that Nuts was tantalizing, just on the end of the hook, trying to bait Fisher back and forth. But Fisher had too much HP. It was hard to sort of utilize the fact against him. I think Shaz might be in trouble there. He's being dived in the back line by a Primal Rage. Oh, no, they're traded out. Gesture and Shaz actually take each other down. Shaz nasty with those orbs. A lot of damage available. Cheeky Prophet trying to keep things stalled out, but it's not going to be a possibility. But Shawfall kind of doesn't get much out of that blade. I want to switch here.
He gets absolutely nothing out of that blade. Maybe he thought he needed it to kind of secure their spot on the
switches
map.
off.
Okay, so he's going to switch off to McCree, kind of try and counter, Birdering at range with McCree. McCree a very good hero on the second part of the map. Right, a lot of like those mid to long range battles where McCree kind of excels at.
He has a bit of a landing strip. So what I mean by that is that he can kind of see a dive coming and sort of roll back preemptively. The hardest part about McCree is if you're not ready to be jumped on and you kind of take too much damage before you can sort of roll back. He's in a position now where he has good sight lines, good mid to long range plays where McCree excels. And also flashing Gesture as he tries to jump on, or Prophet. So having a bit of self-peel in the form of that stun is just incredibly powerful, if not respected by the opponent.
It's interesting you know that, but don't apply it to your own.
No, I don't. No, I just sort of flash the ground. I don't know, man. It's just kind of fun. I'm all about the mass one, bro. It's all I need. Big Goose down. Pulse Bomb was connected to him by Prophet, and Bishu seems to be waiting on a bit of a self-destruct attempt. He's going to go over the top. How does Spitfire respond to this? Gesture jumps in as well, hoping to try and keep them there. And he's going to fall. He goes a little bit too far forward and gets blown up by Bishu.
Yeah, and Sharpor is able to take out Birdering up on that high ground, so Nuss ends up using this Valkyrie. Not able to keep much of anybody alive outside of Fury here on the payload. Fury will fall, doesn't use that self-destruct. I wonder if they know that Prophet is still behind enemy lines here. This Prophet is all the way back by that original Mega Health pack. Potentially in a spot to make a beeline for Shaz here. Oh. Asher's behind as well.
Ashby outside, how about that? He's waiting for them to try and challenge him. No one really goes for the bait though. Perhaps they don't know he's there. No! Oh, it's gonna be nasty. Nuts gets caught out, and to be honest, Bedoshin's lucky to even be alive. He took a lot of damage from that AoE. Asher opening it up. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Fury now trying to dance around and keep things stalled out, but that is all that the Gladiators needed. One big play like that sets them on the home stretch here to finish this map. Prophet there just stands, hoping to stall out for a little bit. That's lovely. I love it.
It's the pulse bomb, but it's also the information that he relays. When we actually had the player came up, you can see he's speaking so fast, telling them that there's 4 players coming out of that side door. As soon as he hits the pulse bomb, he lets them know that he's actually connected with Nuts. It gets Bedoshin weak. Who is there at the doorway right away? It's Fisher and Bishu as soon as the pulse bomb goes off to finish off Bedoshin.
A little bit of an aggressive dive there. I kind of like that. Shaz is a little bit late on the Transcendence here. Birdering forced into a reflect and is trying to escape. Asher would love to chase, marking his territory there in a far more savory way than a canine would. At least he puts the logo found Bedosin. There's a pulse bomb there as well. So again, if Jesse gets too close here, it might be the answer. Just blow him up, get rid of the Winston, but respects the shield, respects the fact that he can't get damage across it. He wanted to challenge Prophet though. Ash is feeling confident.
Yeah, he wanted that kill real bad. He decides to back up a little bit. Prophet will take out Fisher.
That was good stall by Fury, by the way.
Yeah.
Good 5 to 6 seconds where he was sat there.
As he still, okay, so he does have a self-destruct. So you have a lot of ultimates here for the London Spitfire coming online. Really banking these up. You just need one really good fight to go your way.
Asher back to his back line. They've seen Prophet there. Can they catch him? That'd be tough to do. Prophet maybe not have a recall. Maybe he's waiting for that one now. That's why he had to go for the Mega Health Pack, but he's drawn Asher away. Asher with frustration realizes that he's kind of been hoodwinked, bamboozled. Try and return to the rest of his team. Oh, I like that. Shorefall's going to wait just in case Prophet tries to flank, but they really need the big guns up front right now, Matt. They can't be worried too much about the flank. They need to go in. Birdering, though, he knows just how to do that. Shaz gets sliced through. It's a hot knife through butter kind of thing, but Shorefall with the Dead Eye responding. The Transcendence from Bedosin isn't enough to save him. That's an instant kill if you get the Happy Red Skulls. Pulse Bomb drop. Doesn't get a kill, but does a bit of damage there. Takes Fury very, very low, but still the D.Va's able to chase down Shorefall. Final moments here. 5 seconds left in the round. Asher being booped off of the payload, trying to stay on over, trying to 1v1. Birdering from long range. Gets the 76 damage done, and the Gladiators so close, and yet so far, they can't get to the payload at all, and the least a map in this series will be handed over to the London Spitfire. It's not a victory, and that's disappointing in itself for the London team, but for the Gladiators, they can hold their heads high as their shields are being held. We're glad with that victory. What a show from them.
Yeah, the Gladiators played a tremendous series here today. You can see Showboard hyping the crowd up. You can see this team is clearly headed in the right direction with just their playstyle, the roster they put in place, and you can see the love between Fisher and some of his ex-teammates there on London. It's got to feel good for him to get this win.
Vindication, you know, as well. I'm sure he was blindsided by the decision to move across. I'll tell you what, Matt. Big love to you fans in the audience today. Whenever we get a Gladiators crowd here, we're blowing the roof off. Great to see. And for them now, perhaps some stability. A big 2-0 week. Smiles all around there. You can see everyone's very happy. And a much-deserved performance. I mean, you can see as we went through this map, Matt, we saw some fantastic Tracer play there from Asher looking excellent. Him and Prophet going head-to-head in that second half of the series was just stunning. Birdring, of course, coming in. The big guns brought out for the Spitfire, but it wasn't enough.
You just wonder if London would have had this roster at the beginning of the series, if it could have been a little bit different, but it's going to be the Los Angeles Gladiators who take our first match of the day, 3-1 over the London Spitfire.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Gladiators get their biggest win of Stage 2 so far as they take down the London Spitfire with a score of 3-1. Welcome back, everyone, to the desk. Golden Boy here alongside with Reinforcing Crumbs. And man, what a series, what a game that was. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, it was a game. I mean, that was so surprising to all of us, really. I mean, going into this series, I was a bit had a few question marks because we saw the B squad coming up from London Spitfire, of course, with a few members of the old GC Busan squad. And it didn't work out for them at all. They subbed in Birdring, the entire team. They subbed in the entire roster at halftime. But still, I mean, the adaptation on King's Row, we saw the Pharaoh and the Junkrat come out. Very impressive from Gladiators.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome stuff indeed. But we don't want to wait to get into our Omen by HP player of the match because we actually have him down on the floor with the one and only Zoe. It's Fisher. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I have Bishu and Fisher joining me from the LA Gladiators. What an amazing performance from your team. Now, Fisher, you've been with the London Spitfire for Stage 1. You wanted more play time, and that's why you left them. You joined the Gladiators for the Stage 2, and you've been in the starting 6 for every single game. Is there anything you want to say to your former team?
아까 얘기했던 그대로. 그러니까 저는 이제 런던이라는 팀에 딱히 개인적인 감정도 없고 뭐 제가 비록 이적을 했지만은 여태까지 같이 함께 열심히 해왔던 팀원들이었기 때문에 아까도 이제 서로 이렇게 포옹하면서 나중에 밥도 먹자고 했어요. 그러니까 뭐 다른 감정은 없습니다. 근데 하나 얘기하고 싶은 거는 제가 다른 팀에서 뭔가 좋은 모습을 보여줬을 때 항상 그래도 제스처보다 제스처 때문에 벤치였던 애 아니냐 맨날 이래가지고 오늘 그거 제가 증명했다고 생각해요.
That was a lot.
Okay, so, he doesn't really feel much, but it's just like, they're all players in the end. But it was like still kind of exciting to play against his old, former teammates. And, like as you guys could see, they were like still hugging each other. It was really funny up there. But, in the end, but people kept saying that, oh, Fisher's like playing well, but like there has to be a reason why Gesture was starting over Fisher. But he feels like he really proved himself today, though. That was wrong.
Yeah, everyone agrees with that. You definitely proved yourself today on this first stage, and actually every other day you've been playing. You've been absolutely fantastic. Now, you guys came in with a very specific strategies against your opponents. Did you know that those strats are going to work against both potential London rosters?
I mean, I don't know about both, but we were pretty damn confident. Like, thanks to our great coaches. Thank you for the amazing plans, and thank you everyone. Couldn't have done it without the fans. Couldn't have done it with my teammates. I'm so happy right now. I'm gonna sleep really well.
Well, and they are happy for you. Thank you guys so much. Once again, congratulations to you and your team. We're now gonna break down that game on our analyst desk with Golden Boy and his lovely Crumbs and Reinforce.
They are so lovely indeed. Thank you so much, Zoe, and congratulations to Fisher, our Omen by HP player of the match. But Bishu joining in the fun as well, because why not, right? Why not?
Why not?
I respect that. I mean, Crumbs, didn't get your thoughts on the game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm more of a visual kind of thing. I feel we need to do a visual representation of what that really was. Can you be my London Spitfire and I'll be the Gladiators?
Oh dear, my career.
There you go.
Hinges on this moment right here. So here we go. It's blue and orange. Okay, so this is this it? Is this it? All right, we've been practicing.
Toss the plane.
Shut up, Johnny!
Hey! Crash and burn.
Oh,
I was getting worried. I've seen your aim in ranked, man.
What do you mean? Okay, I'm the best Xbox player in the game, dog.
Yeah, you're the best Xbox player on this desk.
Yeah, that's right. Best Xbox player in this desk, maybe even the arena. Okay, so guys, what a game that was, though, seriously. And actually, one thing that was mentioned was the coaches, as a matter of fact, and the impact that the coaches had. And I believe we actually did get a pep talk. It's like some audio of a pep talk. I know you guys had a chance to listen to this.
Yeah, this is just some great stuff. Let's listen in.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in.
Maybe.
Play slow. Remember, don't get poked out one time. We're a dive comp still. We were successful in scrims when we dove the stuff together. Yeah? And we had alt plans. Alt plans is huge with dive. Okay.
Successful when they dove the stuff together.
Yeah, that's what you need, right? But you need some pep talk going into the match on stage, because on stage, you start to zone out. Maybe you're tunnel visioning perhaps the game itself, and you're not thinking as much as you can when you're alone in your bedroom playing video games and stuff. So you need some pep talk. You need some reminders that we can't stand still, take poke damage. That was said in the interview itself.
Yeah, but your pep talk, it has to be very tailored. You know, you can't just come in with an Al Pacino speech every single time. That's not going to work. You need
They're
to
playing London Spitfire.
Yeah, but you got to be, you know, it wasn't anything like get amped up, guys. It's just about remembering exactly what you practice, because for a lot of these teams, it's about playing the way they play on stage. It's the same way you practice, making sure that there's no difference in that way. And that's probably what we're getting out of the Gladiators today, what we saw, them playing the way that they practice in scrims. Clearly, that's what they were going for. So it worked. We can assume that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the different compositions coming out throughout the series, right? So they specifically practiced for this matchup. We saw the Junkrat and the Pharaoh King's Row. We probably have some highlights. Roll the highlights.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. That's what I was going to do, Johnny, and you end up taking it over. Hosts
all you're doing is popping
here.
airplanes. I don't know what's going on.
I know, I'm a great pair for airplanes.
Yes, as we saw, you hit the shield. So we saw some great compositions coming out here from the Gladiators, of course. Huge shatter coming out from Gesture in this case. But I think they specifically prepared for the London Spitfire very well. We saw the adaptations both on King's Row. We saw the May Reaper come out on Route 66, and it wasn't as successful, but still it just shows that the coaches has done a good job.
And I think what really struck me as a difference here with the Gladiators is that it felt like they took a page out of the London Spitfire book, which is when a point is almost capped, they will fight for it tooth and nail, and that's what the Gladiators did. They kept trying to stall out these points. This one in particular in King's Row, with Bijou coming in to stall out the map, buying more minutes in the clock, making sure that the final push is always under a lot of pressure for the team. And it's very interesting to see that, because that was something that Gesture was doing a lot. Now Fissure is bringing that into the team, and you got to make sure that you're putting your opponent in a position where they have to fight for every meter, every centimeter, because I think we can keep track of those too.
Yeah, we can. I think we can. No, but you're right, though, and that was the game right there for them. That's what gave them the victory overall in the match, the LA Gladiators. But still, though, we take a trip to Route 66, and here, this is when you started to see the Spitfire come into form, and makes you ask the question, should they have ran the A team going into games?
Yeah, I think if this was Hollywood instead of King's Row, I think this series would have gone map 5 and it's over. But because it was King's Row, I think it's a map much more about strategy overall. And so we saw on Route 66, when it comes down to the actual individual skill and the teamwork, London Spitfire really started to shine.
See, I actually think this map was a big blemish for the Los Angeles Gladiators, rather, because they kept running a complete anti-Sombra composition with the Roadhog, Reaper, and the McCree trying to deal with
the May.
Yeah, and the May, rather. There was not a Sombra in place, so they basically ate about 2.5 minutes of the clock doing absolutely nothing before they swapped over. I think had they swapped over a little bit sooner, they would have hit that third point with a lot more time, and we might have just seen a clean 4-0 that way. So they still understand the room that they need to improve, which is really good to see, because this is the attitude that they still have. But they can look at the tape here and figure out, okay, here's how we can get even better than beating the London Spitfire 3-1.
So now moving forward for the LA Gladiators, they will go up against Houston, Florida, and Philadelphia. So some good matchups moving forward for the LA Gladiators. Is this where we start to see the purple and white get that resurgence in stage 2?
I mean, Houston reverse swept Florida yesterday, of course, but Houston has been in a bit of a slump, so maybe this is your opportunity to rack up 2 more wins. Then you're at a 6-2 win-loss record, of course, in this stage 2. I mean, it's starting to look good. Philadelphia, perhaps? Philadelphia is looking pretty one-dimensional, so with the job the coaches did today versus the London Spitfire, maybe they can do the same versus Philadelphia. It's going to be very exciting to follow this team.
Well, I think that's the difference between the Gladiators and Philly. While they both dive, I think the DPS out of the Gladiators have way more diversity in what they can bring to the table. You're constantly swapping out Asher, Surefour, and Hydration in the mix at all of them. I mean, you're running Doomfist as a serious pick here a lot of the time, and it works. You've got Hanzo's as well. You don't see Philly bust out that all the time. It's mostly Tracer and Genji and some sort of flex when EQ is in, or maybe even Pharah.
Sure. Yeah, well, it is very evident. Hi, Mom. Oh, hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi to all the moms out there.
In Japan. She can't see that.
Okay, well, we'll clip it and send it to her. You know? Easy, right? Easy. All right, guys. Well, it looks like we're going to be going coast to coast next as we have the NYXL taking on the San Francisco Shock. Thank you, gentlemen, for your insight. That game's going to be an exciting one. Hope you stick with us here at the Overwatch League, and we'll see you on the other side.